Chapter 902. Damn it! At the outermost periphery of the heavenly tomb, outside a swamp, Tuoba Yu's face was pale, and his face was covered in cold sweat. One of his feet had accidentally stepped into a rotten swamp. His entire leg had been corroded, and even his bloodshot leg bones could be seen. As expected, I'm not a character in a story. Tuoba Yu collapsed to the ground, feeling the flame of life fading away. He revealed a bitter smile of grief and indignation, despair and unwillingness. Tuoba Yu didn't even really enter the heavenly tomb. He collapsed in the periphery. Just as Tuoba Yu's consciousness was in a daze, a voice with endless ancient majesty, as if it came from the ancient wilderness, resounded in his mind. Do you want to become stronger and break free from fate? This voice was like a thunderclap that exploded into Tuoba Yu's mind. Who is it? Tuoba Yu's eyes suddenly widened. There was no one in the heavenly tomb. Who would talk to him? I am the planner of fate, the ruler of creation, the source of the heavens, the end of eternity. Everything begins with me. Everything will end with me. This voice almost suffocated Tuoba Yu, and his entire body trembled. The planner of fate, the ruler of creation, the source of the heavens. What kind of supreme existence was this? In the distant void, Jun Xiaoyao's essence spirit stood with his hands behind his back, and there was a faint playful smile on his face. Jun Xiaoyao was quite good at fooling people. In short, the more mysterious he was, the more convincing he would be. To Jun Xiaoyao, this was like a game. On the other side, Tuoba Yu's breathing quickened, and his pupils widened. He, who was on the verge of death, seemed to have recovered some vitality at this moment. As expected, the heavens don't want me to die. Tuoba Yu was so excited that every nerve was trembling. He had indeed had a great opportunity. Moreover, the other people's opportunities were either incomplete cultivation techniques, divine herbs, or some kind of inheritance. But Tuoba Yu? He had encountered a god. If it was in any other ordinary place, no one would be easily fooled. But where was this place? It was the heavenly tomb, known as the Forbidden Land of Eternity. It was rumored that a deity had been buried in it. Thinking about it this way, it did not seem impossible to meet a revived god. No expert would be so bored as to play with a member of the black skin tribe. Great God of fate and creation, please save me. I am willing to become your eternal believer. Tuoba Yu roared. He was afraid that he would miss this opportunity. Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. He hadn't even started to trick Tuoba Yu, but Tuoba Yu had already taken the initiative to fall into his trap. However, he still had to put on a show. He had to make Tuoba Yu believe that he was the beloved son of the gods. Only then would he be able to wholeheartedly preach. Boom! In the next moment, the world before Tuoba Yu's eyes turned upside down. He looked around and found that he had arrived in a boundless universe. Tuoba Yu was dumbfounded. He took a deep breath. He could sense that this cosmos was different from the other side. As expected of the great God of creation, Tuoba Yu was dumbstruck and incomparably shocked. With his level, he naturally couldn't come into contact with those top supreme big shots who had inner universes. However, even if he could come into contact with them, he wouldn't suspect anything, because Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was a law that completely belonged to him. The inner universes of those supreme big shots were only borrowing the laws of the other side. Just as Tuoba Yu was shocked, in the distant, endless universe, a blurry figure sat cross-legged, carrying an aura that suppressed the heavens. That figure was enveloped by endless immortal light. All kinds of runes were resplendent, and the radiance of the great Tao surged. He seemed to be the beginning of all things, as if he was the beginning of creation. The fate, cause, and effect of all things in the world seemed to have turned into a long river that flowed under his body. Behind him, an ancient tree towered into the sky and covered the galaxy. On every leaf there seemed to be a world floating. Tuoba was so shocked that his entire body was trembling. Naturally, he didn't know that it was the World Tree. He only felt that this was a great power that even gods might not have. However, what was even more shocking was yet to come. Behind that blurry figure, there was also a terrifying figure that stood behind him. It was simply like an ancient demon god. That kind of aura could crush the heavens with a single strand. It was as if all creatures in the world were going to be annihilated in his hands. No. Undying King, Tuoba's mind went blank. He couldn't even speak clearly, almost scared out of his wits. Even though he hadn't faced an Undying King before. Once an Undying King was angered, the entire foreign realm would tremble, heaven and earth changing color. The demonic figure before him had an aura that wasn't inferior to an Undying King in the slightest. Meanwhile, that Undying King actually quietly fell behind that blurry figure. Like a servant or a guardian deity. Heavens, an Undying King as a servant? Tuoba's three views suffered a huge impact. That was an undying existence that stood at the peak of the foreign realm. It was difficult for ordinary people to even look up to them. Yet now, it was only a servant behind the god of fate and creation. He felt that the god of fate and creation might be even more mysterious than ordinary gods, even more powerful. Tuoba pays respects to the god of fate and creation. Tuoba knelt down, shivering. He never expected that when he came to the heavenly tomb, he really ran into a revived deity. Tuoba lowered his head, not even daring to look at that blurry figure. He was scared that he would blaspheme a deity. Those who chant my true name shall see eternal life in reincarnation, a vast and mighty voice sounded, carrying a wave of undying and indestructible intent. Tuoba was so excited his heart was about to jump out. Right now, he didn't seek eternal life. As long as he could become stronger, that was enough. 1. In the void, a sphere of light appeared, in the end landing in Tuoba's hands. That was a jade slip. Inside naturally recorded the Tao Heart demonic seed art. Many thanks to the god of fate and creation for your bestowment. Tuoba's breathing was rushed, inwardly overjoyed. Then, it wasn't just this. On the world tree, a leaf shook. A wisp of world force directly merged into Tuoba's body. His cultivation skyrocketed. He reached the true deity realm in an instant. Tuoba was stunned for an instant, his mind blank. Feeling the surging power in his body, Tuoba's eyes were almost red as he shouted crazily. Tuoba is willing to sincerely believe in the God of fate and creation for all eternity. Let the glory of the Lord God shine on those suffering living beings. Tuoba also had some self-awareness. He had received benefits, so he naturally had to preach for the great supreme existence. This was nothing out of the ordinary. After a moment of dizziness, Tuoba returned to his original spot. He realized that his injuries had completely healed. His cultivation was still at the true deity realm. Looking at the jade slip in his hand, Tuoba couldn't wait. After a round of investigation, his eyes shone brightly. The Tao Heart demonic seed art is indeed worthy of being a supreme cultivation technique bestowed by the god of fate and creation. Tuoba took a deep breath. If this cultivation technique was given to others to cultivate, he could obtain their cultivation talent and result. 1 would spread to 10, 10 would spread to 100. How strong would Tuoba become in the end, even he himself couldn't imagine. I must shine the glory of the god of fate and creation on all the slaves. Tuoba's expression was determined as he left the heavenly tomb. However, he didn't know that a figure in the void was watching him leave with a faint smile. The chess piece has been placed. A new round of arrangements has begun. Chapter 903. Even Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect that tricking people would be so easy. The so-called immortal king's figure was naturally the evil thoughts of the gods that were sealed in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. It was good to use it to show off. In addition, there was the world tree that flowed with the power of the world. To be honest, it was quite scary. The slave race youth, Tuobayu, was just a small chess piece that Jun Xiaoyao had set up. Although he was now so weak that he could almost be ignored, and his status was extremely lowly. But don't forget, 1,000-mile dike could be destroyed by an ant's nest. The bigger the monster, the more likely it was to be subverted by some ant-like existences. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect that Tuobayu alone could shake the foundation of the foreign realm. He just treated Tuobayu as a tool to collect the power of faith. At this moment, in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, the seed of faith floated quietly in it. A cluster of fluorescent light suddenly appeared. Although it wasn't very big, it was very dazzling and dazzling. That was Tuobayu's power of faith. Because he was a little weak, there wasn't much power of faith. However, he had a crazy devout heart for Jun Xiaoyao, so it was very dazzling. This cluster of power of faith merged into the seed of faith. There was no change, like a stone sinking into the sea. Jun Xiaoyao also understood that if he wanted the seed of faith to bloom, he would need more power of faith. Next, let's see what Tuobayu will do. I have given him a cultivation talent that is equivalent to 1,000th of my own. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. The Dao Heart demonic seed art had an ability, which was to reward other cultivators with talent. Jun Xiaoyao had given Tuobayu a cultivation talent that was equivalent to 1,000th of his own. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao himself didn't lose any talent. Don't underestimate 1,000. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao's talent couldn't even be described as an anomaly or a peerless monster. A drop of his blood could create a top genius. A 1,000th of his talent couldn't be underestimated. On the other side, Tuobayu, who had left the heavenly tomb, had an extremely excited expression on his face. He wanted to catch up with the Cyclops tribe and save his sister and the other tribesmen. Although Tuobayu only had true God realm cultivation right now, he possessed the ability to jump realms and challenge. Dealing with the Cyclops wasn't a big problem. What made him even happier was that his strength was constantly increasing. It felt as though his cultivation had increased significantly with every breath he took. This was naturally because of the 1,000th of the talent that Jun Xiaoyao had bestowed upon him. Even if Jun Xiaoyao were to lie down every day without moving, his cultivation speed would still be much faster than those cultivators who cultivated diligently. This is too heaven-defying. Is this the reward from the god of fate and creation? I must not disappoint him. Tuobayu became even more excited, and he strengthened his confidence in preaching. Soon, a few days had passed. Tuobayu caught up with the Cyclops team. "It's you, brat. Are you really here to die?" Seeing Tuobayu appear alone, the Cyclops leader grinned, revealing his blood-stained fangs. "Little you don't," in the crowd, Tuobalan, who was tied up like a commodity, saw this, and her pretty face lost all color. "Today, I, Tuobayu, will tell you that the black-skin tribe will never be slaves." Tuobayu's aura erupted, and like a young tiger, he charged out. In just a short moment, all the Cyclops tribe members present turned into a pool of minced flesh and blood. Little you. Tuobalan was stunned, her eyes wide open. All the other slaves around were also stunned. "Sister, it's okay. I'll tell you later." After Tuobayu rescued everyone, he pulled Tuobalan over alone. "Sister, you definitely don't know what I've experienced." Tuobayu told his sister everything that he knew. Besides, he was going to spread the glory of the god of fate and creation in the first place, so he wouldn't hide anything. What, the god of fate and creation? Tuobalan was stunned. What kind of supreme existence was this? And she had no choice but to believe it, because the current Tuobayu was simply reborn. He was even stronger than the black-skin tribe's patriarch. "Sister, this is the technique bestowed by the god of fate and creation. Take it and cultivate. Not only you, but the other black-skin tribe members also have to cultivate it. After that, even the other slaves have to cultivate it and let them worship the god of fate and creation. Tuoba Yu passed the Dowhart demonic seed art to Tuobalan. Tuobalan's pretty face was filled with shock. She had never seen such a profound technique. What was even rarer was that she actually understood it. This meant that no matter how low a living being's cultivation was, they were qualified to cultivate this technique. I want the glory of the god of fate and creation to shine on all the oppressed slaves. Tuoba Yu's expression was firm and confident. He believed that he could become a rebel against the order, a subverter of the rules. Meanwhile, in the heavenly tomb, Jun Xiaoyao immediately sensed it. Traces of the power of faith came from the unseen world. After entering the inner universe, they turned into balls of faith light and merged into the seed of faith. Although each ball of faith light was not large, it was very pure and dazzling. It proved that it was a devout faith. Not bad, Tuoba Yu has already started to work. Jun Xiaoyao was quite satisfied with this chess piece. He could feel that the demonic seeds were beginning to be born in the bodies of the slave. Jun Xiaoyao was able to decide their fates with a single thought. Next, Jun Xiaoyao no longer paid attention to the seed of faith. He knew that if he wanted the seed of faith to completely bloom, he still needed a huge amount of power of faith. This was not something that could be done overnight. Next, Jun Xiaoyao began to pay attention to his physical body. He realized that blood was seeping out of the shattered Supreme Being bone. The blood was colorful and resplendent, as if it contained the laws of the heavens and the patterns of the great Tao. Jun Xiaoyao carefully examined it. After the paragon bone shattered, Jun Xiaoyao had thought that he might lose this physique. Now, it seemed that he had broken it. Not only did the paragon bone not disappear, but it also transformed into an even more powerful form. The paragon divine blood. Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. It was rumored that the paragon bone had an ultimate transformation, turning into the paragon divine blood that flowed throughout the body. From the looks of it, the bright and resplendent blood of the utmost divinity and utmost divinity should be the utmost divinity blood after the utmost divinity bone had transformed. Not bad, after transforming into the paragon divine blood, it can also give birth to the fourth supreme technique. In addition, the previous 3 paragon bone mystical abilities can also be used. It won't be affected. Jun Xiaoyao truly believed that he had gained far too much out of this. After that, Jun Xiaoyao continued to stay in the dark valley of the heavenly tomb. After all, without a physical body, it was too dangerous to walk outside with just the primordial spirit. It would also attract the attention of many people. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was waiting for his physical body to be reconstructed, the mechanical voice of the system sounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations to the host. A new check-in location has been refreshed. Please check in the depths of the heavenly tomb. Chapter 904. Sign in the depths of the heavenly tomb? Jun Xiaoyao was slightly taken aback. The dark valley he was currently in was roughly in the central region of the heavenly tomb. It was indeed quite a distance away from the deepest part. Moreover, the depths of the heavenly tomb was obviously an extremely dangerous place. Even Supremes didn't dare to barge in recklessly. Jun Xiaoyao didn't mind. It was just that his physical body hadn't been reconstructed yet. It was indeed a little dangerous for him to barge into the depths of the heavenly tomb with just his primordial spirit. Jun Xiaoyao planned to sign in the depths of the heavenly tomb after recovering his physical body. After that, Jun Xiaoyao waited for his physical body to recover. In addition, his primordial spirit had also completely recovered. After all, the divine spirit indestructible technique wasn't just for show. It had an extremely strong recovery ability for both the physical body and primordial spirit. And as Jun Xiaoyao's physical body was reconstructed and recovered, the strands of aura pressure grew even stronger. The entire heavenly tomb was filled with chaotic energy. Such a commotion finally attracted the attention of some foreign royal clans in this area. After all, the heavenly tomb was an ancient forbidden land. It was very sensitive and easily attracted some attention. Tens of thousands of miles away from the heavenly tomb, there was an incomparably magnificent city. This city seemed to be standing in the wind and snow. The city walls were ice blue and made of 10,000-year-old black ice. This was the residence of one of the foreign royal clans, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan. In its heyday, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan was once one of the top 10 royal clans. But during the war between the two worlds in a certain era, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan suffered heavy losses, and many of their experts died. Even an ancient ancestor whose cultivation had reached the quasi-immortal realm died. This dealt a fatal blow to the Ice Spirit Royal Clan. From the top 10 royal clans, they fell to the bottom of the 100 royal clans. If it weren't for the legacy of their ancestors, they might not even be able to maintain their status as a royal clan. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the Ice Spirit Royal Clan was a declining royal clan. At this moment, in the center of the city, in an ice palace hall, a silver-haired middle-aged man was sitting on the throne. Below him was a group of Ice Spirit Royal Clan elders and family generals. In the center, a beautiful girl in a blue snowflake dress stood. From her appearance, she looked to be around 18 years old. But to cultivators, appearance could never determine a person's true age. Cultivators under 1,000 years old were considered very young. This beautiful young girl had a head of silvery hair that was as smooth as snow. Her eyes were also silver, as beautiful as ice crystals. Her oval face was extremely beautiful, her nose was straight, and her lips were bright red. Her figure was also very good, with undulating curves. The most eye-catching thing about her was her skin, which was as white as snow. She looked like a beauty carved out of ice and snow. "Father, why did you call Qing Shui here?" The silver-haired girl's name was Fei Qingxue. "Recently, the heavenly tomb has been a bit unusual. There might be some opportunities there. Maybe we can find a way to recover your heavenly ice bone," said Celestial Master Bing Ling. Fei Qingxue's father, Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit, was a Grand Empyrean. He was also the current chief of the Ice Spirit Royal Family. "I understand." Fei Qingxue nodded, but her expression didn't change much. When she was born, she had a heavenly ice bone in her body. Everyone in the Ice Spirit Royal Family believed that Fei Qingxue was a sign of the rise of the Ice Spirit Royal Family. But the heavens were playing tricks on them. The heavenly ice bone in Fei Qingxue's body was actually broken since birth. This made the Ice Spirit Royal Family's hope for Fei Qingxue turn into disappointment. "By the way, there's one more thing," said Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit with a hint of hesitation. For some reason, Fei Qingxue's heart skipped a beat. Something was wrong. The Cinder-classed royal family sent a message. "Prince Yen wants to marry you as his concubine," said Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit. "Father, that's impossible." Fei Qingxue's mind buzzed, and she immediately refused. As the saying went, fire and water were incompatible. The Ice Spirit Royal Family and the Cinder-classed Royal Family had always been at odds. During the Ice Spirit Royal Family's heyday, they had suppressed the Cinder-classed Royal Family. But now, the Ice Spirit Royal Family hadn't fallen behind, and the Cinder-classed Royal Family had suppressed the Ice Spirit Royal Family. Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit sighed deeply. "If it's just the Cinder-classed Royal Family, I can barely bear the pressure. But somehow, they've formed a relationship with the Black Peacock clan." Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit's words made Fei Qingxue freeze. The Black Peacock clan. That was one of the top 10 royal clans. The Black Peacock King was also a famous quasi-immortal level expert in the foreign domain. If the Black Peacock King could break through and become an immortal king, the Black Peacock clan would immediately become a quasi-emperor clan. Just like the Scarlet Owl clan. It was no wonder that Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit felt so helpless to form a relationship with such a powerful clan. After all, which father would be willing to let his daughter become someone else's concubine? Qingxue, you're not only thinking for yourself, but also for the entire clan. Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit looked haggard as she sighed helplessly. Yes, Miss Qingxue, some of the Ice Spirit royal family's elders around her all advised. Let Qingxue have some time alone. Fei Qingxue bit her red lips and left. A few days later, a group left the Ice Spirit royal family's city and headed toward the Heavenly Tomb. Not only that, but the other royal clans in this area also sent out teams. There were even some generals who were curious about the changes in the Heavenly Tomb and wanted to send people out to investigate. Jun Xiaoyao naturally didn't know that he only wanted to recover his physical body. He actually attracted so much attention. Whoosh! 1,000-foot-long golden sword ray shone in the dark valley, bringing with it an invincible aura that could cut through the sky. It was as if the sky was about to be split into two. Is this the power of the heaven-slashing art? Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit murmured as he watched the huge void crack gradually closing. The heaven-slashing art, one of the 5 great divine arts, was indeed powerful. When it was used by Jun Xiaoyao, who was now a quasi-emperor, it was even more powerful. The current me is far, far stronger than the past me. It can be said that I can easily crush my past self. Jun Xiaoyao was comprehending the 7th stage of the supremacy realm. It felt as if the barrier between heaven and earth had disappeared. It was as if he could personally touch the great Tao. It was no wonder that only those at the 7th stage of the supremacy realm were qualified to establish an inner universe. After all, they didn't have a deep understanding of the Taoan laws, so they didn't have the ability to establish an inner universe. Although I'm a quasi-emperor, with my current strength and physical recovery, I reckon that even a perfected quasi-emperor can't do anything to me. Jun Xiaoyao estimated his own strength. At the 7th stage of the supremacy realm, not to mention challenging someone who was a whole realm higher. Even crossing a small realm was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. For example, an early stage to mid-stage quasi-emperor. The difference might be even greater than a few realms of the 9th stage of the Sage realm combined. This was also the reason why it was very difficult to challenge someone who was a higher realm in the supremacy realm. However, a monster like Jun Xiaoyao couldn't be judged by common sense. Jun Xiaoyao was a little impatient now to recover his physical body. Only then could he emerge from the heavenly tomb and meet the powerful beings of the foreign realm. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit suddenly revealed a strange expression. Another living being has come to the heavenly tomb, and this time it's a royal living being. Chapter 905. Several groups of royal families gathered outside the heavenly tomb. There were also many generals who wanted a share. Is that Fei Qingxue, the princess of the Ice Spirit royal family? She's indeed a famous beauty in the heavenly tomb state. So what if she's a beauty? She's just a flower vase. I heard that Prince Yen of the Fiery Rock royal family will take her as his concubine. Sigh, what a pity. Whispers of discussion could be vaguely heard in the surroundings. Fei Qingxue didn't care about the whispers in the Ice Spirit royal family's group. However, she clenched her fists tightly. No woman would be willing to be a flower vase. Qingxue, you're here. A fiery chariot pulled by a scarlet phoenix came from afar. A handsome man in a golden imperial robe stood on the leading chariot. His hair was burning like flames, and his eyes were red. It was Prince Yen of the Fiery Rock royal family. He was less than 1,000 years old, and he was already a Saint King expert. He was definitely not bad among the foreign royal prodigies. Fei Qingxue's face was cold, and she didn't say anything. Prince Yen also smiled, not minding it. After all, Fei Qingxue was just a bird in a cage. Wouldn't she become his toy in the future? Qingxue, if you marry me as my concubine, it'll be good for you, me, and the family behind us. If the war between the two worlds with the immortal region happens again, and a few more members of the Ice Spirit royal family die, such as your father, Heavenly Venerable Ice Spirit, you might not even be able to maintain your royal status. Prince Yen smiled, but there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Are you threatening me? Fei Qingxue gritted her teeth. Of course not. There's no need for that. Marry me, it'll be good for you. Maybe we can dual cultivate and develop the ice and fire bipolar body. I don't care about your broken heavenly ice bone. You only disgust me. Fei Qingxue's face was filled with anger. Fei Qingxue, don't be ungrateful. I'm related to the Black Peacock race's prodigy. In the future, the Heavenly Immortal Banquet will be held in the Heavenly Tomb State. I will attend the banquet. At that time, if you still don't agree, don't blame me for not being able to maintain my poise. Prince Yen also made things clear. He smiled coldly and entered the Heavenly Tomb with a group of fiery rock royal race experts. Fei Qingxue trembled slightly. The Heavenly Immortal Banquet was a grand banquet for the geniuses of the Heavenly Tomb State. At that time, not to mention the royal clans and the top royal clans, even the geniuses of the quasi-emperor clans and above might appear. Prince Yen wanted Fei Qingxue to give him an answer at that time. He could use the Black Peacock race's power to suppress her. Next, Fei Qingxue also entered the Heavenly Tomb. However, what made the members of the Ice Spirit royal family panic was that Fei Qingxue had shaken them off and entered the Heavenly Tomb alone. This was no different from courting death. Miss Qingxue. The creatures of the Icy Spirit royal family were shouting and panicking. It was obvious that Fei Qingxue wanted to die. I'm sorry, father, but Qingxue can't stand such humiliation. I'd rather die. Fei Qingxue's figure flashed through the Heavenly Tomb like an ice butterfly. Ingqi's beautiful eyes were filled with determination. Instead of letting her become Prince Yan's plaything, she would rather die. However, just as Fei Qingxue entered a dark valley with the determination to die in an instant, the world spun. Fei Qingxue looked around again and found that she had come to a vast universe. Fei Qingxue was extremely shocked and confused. Rumble! In the depths of the universe, a blurry figure appeared and sat cross-legged in the sky. All kinds of great Tao auras, the river of time, and karma threads surrounded his body. That blurry figure was like the source of the heavens, the beginning of all things, and the beginning of creation. Behind him, an indescribably vast ancient tree towered into the sky. The tree crown covered the vast universe. One leaf, one world. Is that the world tree? Fei Qingxue's mind was filled with hundreds of thousands of thunderbolts. Compared to Tuobayu, Fei Qingxue, who was born in the royal clan, had higher standards. Even so, she was still shocked by the scene in front of her. She was tongue-tied. However, that was not all. A demon-like figure exuded boundless power. A wisp of aura could crush everything. It's the aura of an immortal king. Fei Qingxue's delicate body trembled, and she could not help but kneel down. In the foreign realm, immortal kings were the heavens. Their anger could shake heaven and earth. Their roar could shake the heavens. But now, the figure that exuded the aura of an immortal king was sitting cross-legged behind the blurry figure like a servant. Fei Qingxue was already shocked to the point of numbness. I am the master of fate, the master of creation, the source of the heavens, the end of the era. The mighty voice spread throughout the universe. Even though Fei Qingxue was the royal clan's princess, she was still shocked. She knew that she had encountered a supreme existence. This supreme existence was unbelievably powerful, unparalleled, unimaginably powerful. If it was elsewhere, Fei Qingxue might have some doubts. But this was the eternal forbidden land, the heavenly tomb. It was rumored that a true god was buried here. Since that was the case, there was nothing strange about encountering anything. Fei Qingxue greets the supreme. Fei Qingxue knelt with her head lowered. What pride of a princess! In front of a supreme existence, it was nothing. Fei Qingxue felt that she was even more insignificant than an ant. What followed was naturally another round of deception. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao also gave the Tao Heart demonic seed art to Fei Qingxue. Not only that, he also gave her a drop of blood. This drop of blood was bright and dazzling. It was divine and holy. It was the supreme divine blood that was formed after the supreme bone was shattered and reborn. Jun Xiaoyao observed that Fei Qingxue also had an incomplete icy heavenly bone in her body, which was just right. Thank you, God of fate and creation, for your bestowment. Fei Qingxue's beautiful silver eyes were also filled with fanatical worship. This supreme existence not only gave her a heaven-defying cultivation technique. He also gave her a drop of precious divine blood. This drop of divine blood merged with the incomplete icy heavenly bone in Fei Qingxue's body. Suddenly, the icy heavenly bone underwent a change. All kinds of ice laws appeared. Fei Qingxue only felt that her icy heavenly bone had transformed into an icy Dao bone. And it was complete. Not only that, but Fei Qingxue's strength also skyrocketed. She broke through the bottleneck and directly broke through to the Sage King realm. Fei Qingxue's jade-like body trembled. Her white jade face, which was like an ice sculpture, also had a rare touch of redness because of excitement. A drop of blood turned her incomplete heavenly bone into a Dao bone. Such a supreme power of creation. Other than a true supreme God, who else could do it? I, Fei Qingxue, am willing to become an eternal believer of the God of fate and creation. Fei Qingxue was so excited that she couldn't control herself. It was the God of fate and creation that allowed her to control her own fate. It was no wonder that this unparalleled existence was known as fate. Now, even if Jun Xiaoyao wanted Fei Qingxue to die, Fei Qingxue would probably be very happy. Finally, Fei Qingxue left the cosmic space. Her eyes were filled with confidence. At the heavenly immortal banquet, she would probably give Prince Yan and everyone a big surprise. Looking at Fei Qingxue's beautiful figure leaving, Jun Xiaoyao's figure appeared in the void of the dark valley. He stood with his hands behind his back and a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. A lowly slave youth and a fallen princess with a crippled heavenly bone. Jun Xiaoyao was quite satisfied with the child of fortune and the daughter of fortune that he had personally created. Although I don't plan to infiltrate the royal family for now, I have already planted the chess pieces in advance. There's also the heavenly immortal banquet. Interesting, Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. Chapter 906. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. The commotion in the heavenly tomb also attracted many geniuses from the general and royal clans to investigate. Of course, most of them still died in the heavenly tomb's strange occurrences. The dark valley where Jun Xiaoyao was, however, remained undisturbed. Rumble. On this day, there was a thick chaotic aura surging in the dark valley. All kinds of mysterious and complicated chaotic Dao laws appeared in the void. It's about time. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the cocoon formed by the chaotic mist, and a faint smile appeared on his lips. It seemed that he was much stronger than he had expected. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit directly escaped into it. Rumble. The clouds in the sky churned and thunder surged. This phenomenon was not limited to the heavenly tomb's surroundings. In fact, there were more or less strange heavenly phenomena in the entire foreign realm. The birth of a monster, heaven and earth changed. This phenomenon, could it be that another peerless monster is about to be born in our foreign realm? Tisk tsk, heaven and earth are resonating. What kind of monster is this? Could it be that another seed of an immortal emperor clan has appeared? As expected, a true dragon is born in a great world. The appearance of such a monster is greatly beneficial to our realm. In various parts of the foreign realm, some great figures were communicating with their divine wills. They all naturally believed that a peerless monster had appeared in their foreign realm. Another monster is about to appear? This is good too. There are many monsters in this generation of the immortal realm. In the region where the Cattail Devil clan was, Pu Yao sat cross-legged in a place full of spiritual energy, looking at the phenomenon in the sky and muttering to himself. To be honest, he was really scared by Jun Xiaoyao. The injuries left behind in the divine ruins had not completely healed even now. Fortunately, Jun Xiaoyao has already fallen, and the greatest hidden danger has been removed. Pu Yao heaved a sigh of relief when he thought of this. If Pu Yao were to find out that the phenomenon was caused by Jun Xiaoyao, he would probably have a mental breakdown. On the other side, Tushan. Two beautiful figures stood on top of a cliff, looking at the strange phenomenon in the sky. One of the women was wearing a long dress with flowing sleeves. Her figure was slender and light, as flawless as a jade carving. Her eyebrows were curved, her beautiful eyes were clear, and her nose was straight. Her skin was as white as snow, delicate and flawless. It was the third princess of Tushan Xiaoxiao. The woman in front of her was extremely tall and slender. Although she was wearing a loose red dress, it was difficult to conceal her extremely hot and alluring figure. Her breasts were towering, as if they were about to burst out of her clothes. However, her small waist was easily grasped. Her delicate butt was perky. Under the split of the skirt, a pair of plump long legs could be seen, round and smooth. What was a curvy front and curvy back? What was curvaceous? It was vividly interpreted by this extremely charming woman. She was definitely a seductive beauty. She also had 9 fiery red foxtails on her back and 2 fox ears on her head. A wine gourd hung from his waist. I really don't know what kind of monster is going to appear again, the woman in the red dress said lazily. Her voice was seductive and charming. What's wrong? Big sister, are you thinking of love again? Tushan Xiaoxiao smiled slightly. This woman in red with an excellent figure. She was the leader of the 5 beauties of Tushan, the eldest princess, Tushan Ye. Sigh, I'm thinking of men. Unfortunately, there's no one in my world that I like. Tushan Ye shook her head and sighed. The red string on her wrist didn't move. The red string would only release the red string of marriage when it met a suitable person. This was related to the immortal scripture they cultivated. The immortal scripture of love and dream. This immortal scripture was very special. Not only did it strengthen the Tushan Fox clan. If they could find the destined person and pull the red string of marriage, this immortal scripture would be upgraded. Their talent and strength would undergo a qualitative change, and they would experience an explosive increase. It was precisely because of this that the 5 beauties of Tushan wanted to find the destined person. Of course, it was difficult for most of the Tushan Fox clan to find the destined person. They could only find someone who was passable and make do with it. Third sister, you said that your red string released the red string of marriage before, and the target was the son of God of the immortal regions Jun Xiaoyao? Tushan Ye turned to look at Tushan Xiaoxiao with an expression of disbelief. She didn't expect the red string of marriage to be able to affect someone from the immortal region. Indeed, that Jun Xiaoyao was a unique man. Not only was his appearance unparalleled, but his strength was also at the top of the immortal region's current generation. Originally, I wanted to kidnap him to my world. Unfortunately, in the end, I used my body to seal the evil intent of a god, and was killed by the people of the immortal region. Tushan Xiaoxiao's tone was filled with pity. After all, that was a man she rarely liked. Sigh, what a pity. It's rare for a man to attract my interest. I really want to see what he's like. Tushan Ye stretched herself lazily. Her exaggerated curves were enough to make any male lose their mind. No wonder the 5 beauties of Tushan's name was spread throughout the foreign domain and countless geniuses turned into licking dogs. Hearing Tushan Ye's words, Tushan Xiaoxiao was also a little embarrassed. She knew that her eldest sister had a strong desire in certain aspects and was a little thirsty. It was just that she was too picky, so she kept herself pure. However, if Jun Xiaoyao was still alive, he might really be liked by Tushan Ye. After all, Jun Xiaoyao had the sacred body of the ancients and was full of vitality. It should be more than enough to satisfy Tushan Ye. However, now that he was gone, she could only think about it. By the way, the date of our 5 sisters' groom selection has been set. When the time comes, we can only see who is pleasing to the eye, Tushan Ye said. Tushan Xiaoxiao sighed. This was also a helpless action. The 5 sisters also needed a Taoist partner, so they couldn't keep dragging it out. By the way, Sister Yaya, 5th sister has disappeared for a while. Is it okay? Tushan Xiaoxiao asked. Little 5, she's just resisting the groom selection. We can find her later, Tushan Yaya said casually. Little 5, the youngest of the 5 sisters, was also the most spoiled and eccentric. Some people were obsessed with love and believed in the supremacy of love. She had always been a little resistant to the groom selection. Every day she thought about finding the destined one. It wasn't just the Puyao Emperor clan and Tushan. Some of the other immortal emperor clans in the foreign realm saw the phenomenon in the sky. They were also sighing that a monster was about to be born. In fact, there were even some monarch clans that sent out people to search for the monstrous genius that triggered the abnormal phenomenon and recruit him or her to their clans. The immortal emperor clans were clans that ordinary foreign creatures could only look up to. However, as long as one had absolute monstrous talent, they could be selected and nurtured by the emperor clans. Jun Xiaoyao naturally didn't know that he would cause such a sensation in the foreign realm. If all the foreign creatures knew that the one who caused the phenomenon was a cultivator from the immortal realm, no one would dare to believe it. Rumble. In the dark valley, the chaotic energy seemed to have turned solid and spread in all directions. It was accompanied by an earth-shattering sound. The chaotic cocoon suddenly split open. A slender figure in white, like a revived god of chaos, shattered the void in all directions, stirred up the wind and clouds of the 9 heavens, and broke out of the cocoon. Chapter 907. Boom. Heaven and earth shook and the universe resonated. Countless patterns of the great Tao were imprinted in the void. All kinds of chaos laws appeared. This valley seemed to have returned to the most primitive chaos. All the essence of heaven and earth in the entire heavenly tomb was sucked into it. In the center of the cracked chaos cocoon, Jun Xiaoyao stood tall and straight, his clothes as white as snow. He emerged from the cocoon. The chaotic light enveloped his body. He seemed to be walking leisurely from the origin of the universe that separated the heaven and earth. The chaos laws wrapped around his body like a waterfall. Countless runes flowed around his body like a river of stars. With every step he took, the space under his feet collapsed silently. It was as if this space could not bear the terrifying power of the chaotic physique. This scene was terrifying to the extreme. If there were experts here, they would definitely be extremely shocked. Jun Xiaoyao's current aura was that of a quasi-supreme. However, his aura was extremely shocking. It was much higher than that of an ordinary quasi-supreme. It was as if he had surpassed the level of life of ordinary creatures. He was born high and mighty, with all laws and Tao following him, overlooking the ups and downs of the world. It feels like it's not bad. Jun Xiaoyao raised his palm. His skin was fair and delicate, and his bones were slender. His body was well proportioned, as if it contained the harmonious chaos laws of heaven and earth. Although he did not look like a tiger's back or a bear's waist, he did not have any explosive muscles. However, Jun Xiaoyao felt that he could blow up an ancient star with one punch. Compared to the physique and strength of the physical body, the chaotic physique was not much inferior to the sacred body of the ancients. Strictly speaking, Jun Xiaoyao was not considered a chaotic physique. However, his physique was the same as the Azure Emperor's. He had talent attributes that were almost no different from the chaotic physique. In comparison, the 10 princes of Jinwu's incomplete postnatal chaotic physique was not even considered trash. It was an extremely trashy piece of trash. Now, Jun Xiaoyao could casually blow up the 10 princes of Jinwu's postnatal chaotic physique with one punch. I wonder if the real chaotic physique is enough for me? Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a playful smile. He knew that immortal domain had a chaotic body seed that had been hidden all this time, not appearing in the world. Moreover, Jun Xiaoyao guessed that it was the Star Saint Protector who instructed Kai Ji and the others to snatch Yu Chanwan in the original imperial city. It was very likely that the one standing behind him was the Chaos Body. This was because the sacred lunar body was very beneficial to the chaotic body. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was currently in the other side, so he didn't have to think that far for the time being. The quasi-connate saintly being's Tao fetus still needs some time to evolve. Jun Xiaoyao looked at another cocoon shrouded in endless brilliance. Although the sacred body of the ancients had been fully restored, it was still infused with the origin of Tao. Therefore, it would take some time for it to transform into a quasi-connate sacred being. As for how long it would take, Jun Xiaoyao had no idea. With a wave of his hand, he sealed the entire Dark Valley with the fourth immortal forbidding seal. In any case, this was the Heavenly Tomb, a forbidden land of 10,000 years. There were few people here, so he wasn't afraid that someone would discover this place. It's time to come out. It's also a good time to test the strength of the chaotic body. But before that, I still need to enter the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. Jun Xiaoyao didn't forget that he still had a chance to sign in the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. The Dark Valley he was in was located in the central region of the Heavenly Tomb. Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the void and rushed towards the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. Along the way, there were many incomplete killing arrays, void rifts, strange quagmires, and so on. However, Jun Xiaoyao ignored them all. As he took a step, he was like a god of chaos. The chaotic energy crushed everything around him and directly pushed his way in. However, the deeper he went into the Heavenly Tomb, Jun Xiaoyao could feel that there were strands of ribbon-like dark matter floating in the air. Finally, Jun Xiaoyao arrived at the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. The dark matter here was already extremely dense, turning into rolling black fog. It could be said that even the powerhouses of the other side wouldn't be able to withstand the erosion of this dark matter. They would fall into madness and lose themselves. This was also why the depths of the Heavenly Tomb were absolute forbidden grounds that no one dared to enter. But Jun Xiaoyao was different. In his inner verse, there was a drop of pitch-black blood that was extremely deep. It was the 10-star reward given by the system, the celestial black blood. If Jun Xiaoyao needed it, he could fuse the celestial black blood into his body and enter a dark state. But when he didn't need it, the celestial black blood would quietly float in the innerverse. It was precisely because of the existence of this drop of celestial black blood that Jun Xiaoyao was immune to the black fog in the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. With this drop of celestial black blood, I might be able to enter and explore many strange forbidden grounds in the other side, Jun Xiaoyao thought. In his eyes, the other side was a huge treasure trove waiting to be excavated. The depths of the Heavenly Tomb were dark. A chaotic light surged in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. With a glance, there were many unknown remains and bones here, as well as rotten coffins and so on. Many of them were corpses from the last era or even older. Although it had been a long time since their deaths, the remains they left behind still emitted a terrifying pressure. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was immune to this pressure. He went deeper into it as if nothing had happened. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were deep. He discovered that there was a traction array under the many coffins here, leading to the core area in front of them. Looking at the array patterns, they should be very ancient energy traction array patterns. And there are so many coffins of fallen powerhouses here. These energies are all gathered in one place. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. His eyesight was so high that he immediately recognized it. In front of him was a basin. However, within it there was a mound of graves. There was a wordless monument on top of it. There were no records. Just as Jun Xiaoyao stepped onto the edge of the basin. Rumble! There was suddenly a strange movement here. On the ground, the array began to light up. The surrounding dense dark matter surged and gathered towards the mound. In an instant, the sky darkened, and ghosts wailed and wolves howled, as if a peerless evil was about to come into being. A huge array formation appeared in the entire basin. The connected patterns were like 6 connected dark stars. A dark 6-pointed star totem. That is, looking at the 6-pointed star totem, Jun Xiaoyao frowned. He vaguely felt that he had stumbled upon some great ancient secret. Boom! The 6-pointed star totem on the ground erupted with dazzling dark divine light and shot into the sky. Rumble! The sky trembled. It was far more shocking than the previous phenomenon in the sky, affecting the entire foreign realm. Countless creatures raised their heads and could see the 6-pointed star imprint in the sky of the foreign realm. Countless experts from the royal and quasi-emperor clans cried out in alarm. That is, a 6-pointed star. Could it be that the legend of the end of the world is about to be activated? Countless experts revealed shocked expressions. Only some of the younger generation of the foreign realm were a little puzzled. Senior, what does that 6-pointed star represent? In a certain royal clan, a young man raised his head to look at the sky, and then asked an old man in the clan for guidance. The old man's tone was trembling and excited as he spoke. The dark 6-pointed star represents that in the legend of the end of the world-destroying 6 kings who brought doomsday to the immortal realm are about to awaken. Chapter 908. In the foreign realm, there was an ancient legend that had been passed down for a long time. When the great era was destroyed, the heavens were in turmoil, the 2 realms fighting a great war. There would be 6 great darkness sequence imprints. These 6 great darkness sequence imprints would land on the bodies of 6 exceptional monsters. They would become the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends. In the future, they would have a chance to receive the mysterious inheritance, become true undying kings. Then, the 6 great undying kings would destroy the world, completely breaking through immortal domain, ending the great war between 2 realms. Of course, this was just an ancient legend passed down in the foreign realm, hard to tell if it was true or false. Even now, it had never truly been realized. But now, looking at the darkness 6-pointed star imprint in the sky dome above, the entire foreign realm seemed to have experienced a magnitude 18 earthquake. A top-level King Clan expert shouted, "Find it, hurry and find it for me. You must find the heaven-defying pride of heaven with the darkness sequence imprint for me." A darkness sequence imprint holder, if they didn't die, they would definitely become an undying king in the future. From a certain perspective, it was equivalent to possessing the heavenly Tao crown. Top-level king clans only lacked an undying king before they could become true half-emperor clans. If they could find one of the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends and carefully nurture him, that would be equivalent to obtaining a future undying king for free. You must find that darkness sequence imprint holder for me. A few top-level king clans began to mobilize. Not only this, even half-emperor clans and true undying emperor clans couldn't hold themselves back, starting to send people to search. This kind of heaven-defying level heaven-defying pride of heaven, if they could recruit one, they would be able to extend their clan's fate for several great eras at the very least. Heavenly geniuses were sought after everywhere, drawing the struggle of many powers. You must find that heaven-defying pride of heaven. I want to marry my daughter to him. There were even half-emperor clan experts who released this type of roar. I have 10 daughters, as long as that monster is strong enough, what harm is there in marrying them all to him? Immortal source, undying medicine, half-emperor weapon, as long as we have it, we can give it all, as long as we can recruit that monster. Experts from the various factions roared out in unison. One could imagine just how great of a shock the appearance of the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends brought to the foreign realm. However, the one who started all of this, Jun Xiaoyao, was a bit stunned, not understanding what was going on. He did not know anything about the doomsday myths, the 6 kings of destruction, or the dark echelon. He only felt that there should be a prodigy of the immortal realm buried in this grave. There were many corpses here, all of them were extremely powerful experts when they were alive. The skeletons they left behind also contained extremely vigorous energy and life essence. The energy from the corpses of so many experts had gathered at the mound through a special formation. From this, it could be seen that the person buried in the mound was definitely not simple. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was trying to figure out the dark six-pointed star and the identity of the living being in the burial mound, suddenly, a pale hand reached out from the mound. What followed was a monstrous demonic aura. It was a young man with a tall and sturdy figure and a demonic aura. He crawled out of the grave. His unkempt hair was covered with dirt. The clothes on his body were very ancient and extremely tattered. They were simply pieces of cloth that stuck to his body. There was a hint of confusion in his eyes. Then, it was suddenly filled with the radiance of the demonic nature. A hoarse laugh came out of his mouth. The gods have died, the demons have been destroyed, but I have survived. I can feel that this era is the true era of great battles. I uphold the mandate of heaven and descend into this era of kings that belongs to me. The young man with the demonic nature roared towards the sky, his black hair dancing wildly. His laughter was like thunder, shaking all directions. However, at this moment, suddenly, the young man sensed that a foot appeared in front of him and then fiercely imprinted on his face. Bang! The man who had just crawled out of the mound was kicked over. The one who kicked was naturally Jun Xiaoyao. If I'm not wrong, you should be a seed-level figure from the other side. Coincidentally, my chaotic physique still lacks an opponent. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent. He was just worried that he could not find an opponent to measure his true strength. Coincidentally, a seed-level figure from the other side appeared. However, Jun Xiaoyao had indeed misunderstood. The young man in front of him was not as simple as a seed-level figure. There was a dark six-pointed star mark on his wrist. It meant that he was the dark sequence in the Doomsday myth, one of the 6 kings of destruction. This was even more noble than the identity of an ordinary seed-level genius. Damn it, who is it? The young man went crazy and shouted angrily. The corner of his mouth was bleeding, and a few of his teeth were broken. There was even a footprint on his face. This kind of humiliation made him extremely angry and crazy, so angry that his internal organs were burning. He was a hibernating dark sequence, an existence who was qualified to become an immortal king. In the end, as soon as he was born, someone kicked his face fiercely. Who could endure this? Did he not care about his face? The young man immediately locked onto the white-robed man standing in the void in front of him with an elegant figure. The young man was taken aback by the primal chaos brilliance and primal chaos law that enveloped him. This is the chaotic physique? The young man was a little shocked. Could it be that the chaotic physique was so common these days? Why did he encounter a chaotic physique as soon as he woke up? Brother, do you know who I am? Even if you have the chaotic physique, the young man spoke. He knew that if it was the real chaotic physique, his background would definitely be great. He might be the successor of the immortal emperor race. However, before he could finish speaking, a voice rang out. Jun Xiaoyao simply clenched his 5 fingers into a fist and punched out. Boom! In the void, the chaotic energy exploded like a nuclear bomb. The young man was sent flying again. He was completely dumbfounded. Why did a chaotic physique want to fight to the death with him as soon as he woke up? For the sake of being a creature of my world, don't make a mistake. The young man's eyes shot out a cold light. It was rare for a chaotic physique to appear in the foreign realm, so he did not want to kill him directly. You're just a whetstone. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes revealed a hint of impatience. You're courting death, the young man shouted sternly. Demonic energy burst out from his body, and he no longer backed down. He raised his hand, and a pitch-black demonic spear rushed out from the mound again. The young man held the pitch-black demonic spear in his hand and pierced towards Jun Xiaoyao, annihilating the surrounding void. That's more like it. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and raised his hand. A dazzling brilliance appeared. It was a 3-foot-long sword embryo. It was slightly rough, as if it hadn't been polished into shape. The blade of the sword wasn't sharpened either, but there was an extremely sharp sword energy swallowing and spitting out, cutting through the void. On the sword embryo, there were all sorts of flying immortal patterns, looking mysterious and profound. This was the quasi-emperor weapon that Jun Xiaoyao obtained from signing in the Zenith Heaven sword embryo, although its level was the same as the great desolate halberd from before. Its offensive power and growth potential were clearly much stronger than the great desolate halberd. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao controlled the sword embryo like a peerless sword immortal in fluttering white robes. Heaven's slashing art. Jun Xiaoyao controlled the sword embryo and slashed down. The sword energy swept across 30,000 miles, and a single sword light shone. Chapter 909. Endless sword light flickered in the void, severing the universe, shattering the boundless expanse. Jun Xiaoyao used the everlasting sword core to activate one of the 5 great divine arts, the heaven-severing art. At the same time, he also added the power of primal chaos onto it. Endless golden sword light, tangled with chaotic energy, hacked down on the young man's head. That type of terrifying fluctuation made even the young man's expression change. Even though he was a dark echelon, one of the Doomsday Six Kings, he hadn't fully grown yet. He still needed to experience all types of opportunities and nurture before he could fully take form. That was why right now was precisely the young man's time when his cultivation was at its weakest. However, he just had to run into Jun Xiaoyao, this freak of a freak. It could be said that he was extremely miserable. Thousand demon hell shaking. The young man released a long roar, the pitch-black demonic spear in his hand piercing out, the void splitting apart. It was as if a part of the underworld appeared, ghosts wailing and wolves howling, heaven and earth mourning. Countless demonic figures appeared, filling heaven and earth. It had to be said that this young man's strength was also extremely great. He was definitely a seed-level figure. It was to the extent where even normal seeds couldn't compare to him. What foreign younger generation 10 great heavenly kings? In front of this man, they were even more like trash. Unfortunately, the one he ran into was Jun Xiaoyao. Boom! A world-shaking explosion erupted, all types of primal chaos waves sweeping out, order and natural laws shattering. The void even more so trembled like paper and then shattered. Poochie! The young man spat out another small mouthful of blood. He had just crawled out from the grave, his original state not yet adjusted. Now, he actually fell into a disadvantage. You are courting death. The young man opened his mouth and roared, his eyes surging with demonic radiance. Who was he? He was a dark echelon who had slumbered for many great eras. He was one of the Doomsday Six Kings who upheld the foreign world's destiny. How could he endure this type of humiliation? Prison C 10,000 calamities, Yama King Dharma idol. The young man's black hair danced crazily. Every strand of hair seemed to have the flames of the underworld burning. Behind him, an incomparably imposing demonic figure rose from the ground. That was the demonic god Yama, who ruled over hell. When this phenomenon appeared, the surrounding earth was directly crushed, sinking 3 feet. All types of wreckage, ruins, coffins, they were all in pieces. The rare phenomenon was extremely powerful. Jun Xiaoyao felt as if the space around him had turned into a swamp the moment he unleashed it. Even his movements were a little sluggish. At the same time, boundless pressure rolled over, suppressing Jun Xiaoyao's strength. Is a seed-level prodigy so difficult to deal with? Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. Although seed-level prodigies were not weak, they should not be so difficult to deal with, right? Jun Xiaoyao was naturally unaware of the opponent in front of him. He was not just a seed-level prodigy. Instead, he was one of the dark echelons in the Doomsday myth. However, Jun Xiaoyao was only surprised by what he saw. Although he could not use the vision of the sacred body of the ancients at the moment, he was still able to do so. However, one should not forget that he had the chaotic physique, and also possessed the sovereign divine blood after the sovereign bone had undergone nirvana. His physique was also not something an ordinary person could compare to. Do you think you're the only one with a vision? Jun Xiaoyao smiled as the chaotic blood in his body surged. Endless chaotic qi soared into the sky, forming a void of chaos behind him. It was as if he had returned to the beginning of the universe. However, in this chaos, the giant shadow of a primordial god that was even larger than the universe's galaxy appeared. The primordial god's shadow seemed to be holding up this world and cutting through the primordial chaos. That kind of fluctuation was so powerful that it made one's heart palpitate. Even one's soul was trembling. It was as if he was facing a primordial god. The chaotic physique phenomenon. Chaos splitting the heavens. This was a phenomenon that came with the chaotic physique. There was no need for Jun Xiaoyao to deliberately comprehend it. Once it was unleashed, all kinds of chaotic qi collapsed between heaven and earth. The giant shadow of the primordial god even seemed to be able to cut through this world. The young man's king of hell Dharma form was directly offset and even suppressed. The young man's expression was extremely ugly. Could it be that the prodigies of this era were already so strong? Or could it be that he could not keep up with the times? No, I uphold the will of heaven and meet with the times. I am an invincible existence, one of the kings of destruction. The young man let out a clear roar. Demonic runes were branded on his body, and the pitch-black spear in his hand even released thousands of wisps of black light. This was a supreme demonic weapon. Myriad demons devour the world. When the extreme move was executed, its aura was extremely powerful, as if it could destroy the 9 heavens imperial court. The entire Forbidden Land was surrounded by all kinds of demonic shadows, and everything turned into dust. It had to be said that this man was really strong. His demonic might was unparalleled, like a demon lord. He was worthy of being in the dark sequence. If it were any other younger generation of the foreign world, they wouldn't be able to easily fight him, let alone injure him. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm when he saw this. On one hand, he used the Zenith Heaven Sword Core to execute the heaven-severing art to slash down horizontally. On the other hand, he used the chaos splitting the heavens phenomenon to suppress the young man. At the same time, the supreme divine blood in his body was activated. This was the ultimate nirvana and transformation of the supreme divine bone. Dazzling light of heaven tribulation appeared from his body, as if turning Jun Xiaoyao into light. He directly charged at the young man, wanting to engage in close combat to test the power of his chaotic physique. Clang! The pitch-black demonic spear collided with the everlasting sword core, producing dazzling sparks. Jun Xiaoyao punched out, his physical body augmented by chaotic energy, light of heaven tribulation, and other attribute. Fist annihilating all directions. Boom! 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 The two of them exchanged blows at an extremely fast speed. Countless afterimages were imprinted in the void. This part of the world was destroyed and the void was cracked. Just the aftermath of the collision alone was enough to shatter everything in the surroundings. Jun Xiaoyao formed a fist seal and punched out. Chaotic energy exploded in the void. Great chaotic palm seal. Compressing chaotic energy to the extreme, condensing it into a palm seal, and then exploding in an instant. Its power was domineering. Bang! The young man was blasted back again. Even the palm he used to punch out cracked. In terms of strength, the young man wasn't bad. However, his physical body was still inferior to the chaotic physique. Sensing that he didn't have a chance of winning and was even in danger, the young man roared. Which immortal emperor race are you from? Do you know that I'm a dark echelon with a high status? If you kill me, your emperor race will have to bear a great crime for generations to come. Hearing the young man's words, Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. Dark Echelon? What was that? However, the young man's words made Jun Xiaoyao's face reveal a hint of mockery. I'm not a foreign creature to begin with. Why do I have to bear a great crime? Killing you is only natural. Jun Xiaoyao already had killing intent in his heart. If this kind of person continued to grow, he would pose a great threat to the celestial realm. It was best to eliminate him as soon as possible. He didn't plan to let the young man leave the heavenly tomb alive, so he directly exposed his identity. What? However, hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, the young man was shocked. His heart twitched violently, and his eyes almost popped out. How is that possible? You're not a creature of my world. Chapter 9-10. The young man was horrified to the extreme, in disbelief, his mind even a bit stupefied. How could such a powerful being with the chaotic body not belong to their side? Just how terrifying was this? It was horrifying. How could an immortal domain chaotic body appear in the foreign realm's forbidden land? What left the young man in even more disbelief was that he also sensed a strong aura of darkness matter from Jun Xiaoyao's body. This was something unique to the foreign realm's creatures. That was why when he first woke up, the young man instinctively believed that Jun Xiaoyao was someone from their side. Jun Xiaoyao said with a sneer, "Of course I am not a foreign realm's creature. I came here only to topple the foreign realm." This was the first time the young man felt like his heart was extremely cold, as if he fell into an ice cave. The handsome man in white with a faint smile on his face had hidden himself too deeply. If he continued to hide, he might really bring an unimaginable great calamity to the foreign realm. Truly foolish, revealing your own identity. Are you trying to force me to kill you? The young man made up his mind, his eyes overflowing with killing intent. Previously, he saw that Jun Xiaoyao had a rare chaotic body, possibly having an undying emperor clan behind him, which was why he wasn't willing to fight to the death. Now, the young man's killing intent was unprecedentedly strong. This type of powerful chaotic body, moreover one that was hostile to immortal domain. More importantly, he could even infiltrate immortal domain without anyone noticing. This white-clothed man was too terrifying, his strength and intelligence definitely unmatched in this world. If this type of person wasn't eliminated after he grew up, he would bring about a devastating blow to the foreign realm. The moment you spoke these words, you were already destined to die. The young man's demonic energy rushed into the heavens, blood and chi filling the heavens, as if a furious king of hell. You are wrong. The reason I took the initiative to speak is because I want to kill you. Jun Xiaoyao held the everlasting sword core in hand, sword radiance surging like a sea. Primal chaos opening the heavens even more so surged, crushing over like a world-destroying wheel, crushing everything. Both sides used all of their moves this time, seeking death, not leaving the slightest bit of leeway. The heaven and earth essence energy here surged like a sea. All types of divine chains of order and void symbols were struck out. As Jun Xiaoyao flipped his palm, chaotic aura cascaded down like a waterfall. A wisp of it could crush the void. In the end, the spiritual qi in the area became violent, and the battle between the two sides reached its climax. In just a single breath, they could exchange hundreds and thousands of blows. Ordinary sky prides would find it difficult to catch their movements. "It's about time," Jun Xiaoyao suddenly said. "What do you mean?" The young man's eyes were as sharp as swords. "I have a good understanding of my own strength. You are no longer of any value to me as a whetstone." Jun Xiaoyao's tone was flat, without any anger. The words that came out of his mouth almost made the young man die from anger. This white-clothed man was too arrogant. He didn't put him in his eyes at all. "Let's try the fourth paragon technique brewed from the paragon's divine blood," Jun Xiaoyao thought. Rumble. His blood began to boil and rumble like thunder. It wasn't the blood of the primal chaos, but the primal divine blood that flowed out after the primal chaos bone was shattered. It was sparkling and resplendent. It was divine and holy. The paragon's divine blood flowed throughout Jun Xiaoyao's body. In an instant, Jun Xiaoyao seemed to be wrapped in a ball of resplendent divine flames. He really looked like a chaotic divine king, and his aura rose steadily. Jun Xiaoyao also felt that his strength in all aspects had improved. Physical body, strength, dermic powers, divine soul, perception. The increase brought by the fourth paragon technique was an increase in all attribute. This could be seen as an invincible technique that increased all attribute. Double, triple. Jun Xiaoyao had only activated it for the first time, and his attributes had increased by more than several times. Even the young man inexplicably sensed a great danger. It was a danger on the verge of death. The young man also erupted his strength to the limit and used his trump card. Inferno God Extinction, Eternal Fall. The young man activated his strongest body and held the pitch-black demonic spear in his hand, cutting through the sky. Countless scenes of hell appeared. It was as if he wanted to pull his opponent's physical body and essence spirit into an eternal hell. This was a terrifying forbidden technique. No matter how strong the opponent was, they would have to die. But the person he was facing was Jun Xiaoyao. Moreover, it was Jun Xiaoyao after his cultivation realm had skyrocketed and his strength had transformed. Jun Xiaoyao activated the fourth paragon technique. The paragon's divine blood in his body surged and burned. His entire body was wrapped in resplendent divine flames. He was like a god of chaos that had awakened, releasing boundless power. He raised his hand and activated the great Tao of origin, Genesis, light of God. And that wisp of light that opened up the chaos didn't directly shoot out. Instead, it augmented the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo. In an instant, the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo emitted an unprecedented resplendent light. It was a sword embryo that was unparalleled in attack and incomparably sharp. Augmented by this wisp of divine light, it was simply like adding wings to a tiger. There was also Jun Xiaoyao. Under the augmentation of the fourth paragon technique, the power of this attack increased by several times. As a result, this move was boundlessly powerful. It could simply pierce through the universe. Swoosh! The Zenith Heaven Sword embryo released an eternal sharpness. Even a universe could be sliced apart. Boom! The young man's ultimate move was directly split into two under the sword embryo's divine light. Even the Avicii hell was about to be sliced apart. The young man spat out a mouthful of blood. The pitch-black demonic spear was held horizontally in front of him, wanting to block the attack. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. The supreme demonic weapon was directly shattered by the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo. Its essence was directly absorbed by the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo. Poochie! The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. The young man's figure paused. He lowered his head slightly. A huge hole appeared in his chest. His internal organs had all disappeared. Not only that, when the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo pierced through, its power almost destroyed his primordial spirit. How? How is this possible? The god is dead, the demon is destroyed, but I'm still alive. How did I die in your hands? The young man couldn't believe it. The light in his eyes disappeared. His primordial spirit had already been shattered into nothingness. Plop! A corpse fell to the ground. Are all seed-level heavenly talents this hard to kill? Do I even need to use so many methods? Jun Xiaoyao shook his head slightly, not too satisfied with his own performance. However, if the foreign creatures were to learn of this, they would definitely be shocked, their souls about to fly out. This is one of the 6 apocalyptic kings in the legends of the apocalypse. Was it really okay to kill him so easily? However, in reality, Jun Xiaoyao did use the Zenith Heaven Sword embryo, Source Great Tao Divine Ability, as well as the fourth Supreme Being technique, together with his own primal chaos physique. This darkness echelon member's death wasn't unjust. Suddenly, a streak of black light appeared from the young man's corpse, directly entering Jun Xiaoyao's body. Jun Xiaoyao lowered his head and raised his wrist. He saw it. A dark hexagram imprint appeared on his wrist. This is... Jun Xiaoyao was a bit confused. An ancient and boundless voice suddenly sounded in his mind, carrying a demonic intent that made one fall into endless darkness. World destruction 6 kings, upholding the will of heaven, wiping out the celestial realm. Thou art the darkness echelon. Chapter 9:11. 6 kings of destruction? Destroy the celestial realm? Sequence 1. These words made Jun Xiaoyao a little stunned. From the looks of it, it seemed that after he killed this young man, he seized the mark on his body and then obtained some kind of qualification. Interesting. Could it be that I replaced a dark sequence and will become one of the 6 kings of destruction who will destroy the celestial realm in the future? Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. He felt that this misunderstanding was a little too big. In the beginning, he only thought that he had killed a seed-level prodigy who had just awakened. Now, it seemed that he had killed an incredible existence. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression remained calm, and his mind remained calm. Although this young man's background wasn't small, Jun Xiaoyao didn't care. If he killed him, then so be it. He didn't have any complacency or pride in it. To Jun Xiaoyao, killing a member of the Dark Echelon was not a big deal. But if this was known by the beings of the foreign realm, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. With a thought, Jun Xiaoyao's hexagram mark on his wrist slowly disappeared. Now, Jun Xiaoyao still wanted to investigate some information in the foreign realm. If the hexagram mark was known by outsiders, it might cause some unnecessary trouble. Next, it's time to sign in. Jun Xiaoyao came to the depths of the heavenly tomb. Soon, a mechanical notification sounded in his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host. You have arrived at the sign-in location. Do you want to sign in? Sign in. Ding, congratulations to the host. You have obtained an 8-star reward, Heaven Illuminator. Heaven Illuminator. Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. This name was quite domineering. He immediately checked the information of the Heaven Illuminator. After some investigation, Jun Xiaoyao came to a realization. It turned out that the Heaven Illuminator could project his own power into the myriad world. In fact, as long as one piously worshipped Jun Xiaoyao and recited Jun Xiaoyao's name, a portion of this power could also be manifested and transferred to those believers. So, this is used to show off? Jun Xiaoyao hit the nail on the head and saw through the use of the Heaven Illuminator. He recalled a certain famous foreign king, his descendant piously calling out his true name, able to manifest a portion of his divine weapon and power. Of course, the stronger one's cultivation, the stronger one's ability to illuminate the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao could be considered to have truly stepped into the ranks of the strongest. However, compared to the great emperors and immortal kings, he was still far from it. However, it was definitely enough to scare people. In the future, the more powerful I become, the more powerful the heaven illuminating power will be. Perhaps I can really achieve that. Those who chant my true name will see eternal life in the cycle of reincarnation. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes lit up. He was confident in himself. From the looks of it, the ability to illuminate the heavens didn't have much of an effect on Jun Xiaoyao. It could only intimidate people and gather believers. But in the future, it would be of great use to Jun Xiaoyao. After signing in, Jun Xiaoyao also prepared to leave the heavenly tomb. As for the quasi-innate sacred body Tao embryo, he would let it slowly transform. In the future, its ability would definitely not be inferior to the chaotic physique. At that time, Jun Xiaoyao would be able to sweep through everything when he activated his invincible form. What germinating seeds! What era of blooming wildflowers! Jun Xiaoyao alone was capable of overpowering the entire world and ruling over the world. The era that belonged to Jun Xiaoyao alone would descend once again. This day wouldn't be too far away. Next, I'll leave the heavenly tomb and investigate all kinds of information about the foreign realm. The sole book of the 9 great heavenly books is very likely in the hands of Qi Hongyu of the Scarlet Owl bloodline. There's also that ghost-masked woman's relationship with the Nirvana tribe. The most important thing is still my father. After the battle between him and the Scarlet Owl King, how is he? Is he really in the foreign realm? Jun Xiaoyao sorted out his thoughts. There were many things he had to do in the foreign realm. Right now, he had the heavenly black blood, the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique, and the chaotic physique. It could be said to be the perfect disguise. No one could associate him with Jun Xiaoyao. Coupled with the dark sequence mark of the hexagram, Jun Xiaoyao was simply more like a foreign creature than a foreign creature. He began to walk leisurely out of the heavenly tomb. At the same time, at the border between the central region and the inner region of the heavenly tomb, swoosh, a nimble and beautiful figure flashed past. She was even more agile than a civet. Behind her, a group of royal creatures were chasing after her. A royal prodigy's face flushed red as he shouted in embarrassment, "Damn it, stop right there! How dare you deceive and trick us?" In front, the petite figure stopped for a moment. She turned around and made a face at the group of royal prodigies, sticking out her tongue. "Serves you right. It's you idiots who are too stupid. You can't see through my illusions." It was a pink-clothed girl who looked to be in her teens. She had a head of soft white hair that was as bright as satin, and it set off her small face that was the size of a palm. She looked exactly like a white porcelain doll. Her skin was tender, her big eyes were delicate, and her eyelashes were long. She looked around and was extremely lively. Her nose was delicate and tall, and her lips were a little cherry red. Linglong was so cute that it was as if she could be played with in the palm of one's hand. Her bare feet were as white as snow, and there was a red rope tied around her ankle. The soles of her feet were fleshy and sparkling. The strange thing was that her bare feet were not stained by the slightest bit of dust. The interior of the heavenly tomb is up ahead. If you step in, you will definitely die. I advise you to quickly hand over the blood phoenix immortal herb. The group of royal creatures berated. During this period of time, there were all sorts of movements in the heavenly tomb, attracting many people to come to search for treasures. This group of royal prodigies had finally found a rare blood phoenix immortal herb after much difficulty. In the end, a strange, white-haired old man suddenly appeared. They were instinctively scared half to death and hurriedly handed over the blood phoenix immortal herb. In the end, they immediately noticed that something was wrong. As expected, the white-haired old man who appeared strangely was actually the white-haired little girl in front of them who had disguised herself with an illusion technique. This made the group of royal prodigies explode with anger. How could they tolerate being played like this? That was why they chased all the way here. Seeing this, the white-haired lowly revealed a look of success. She took out a fox mask from the treasure pouch on her slender waist and put it on. With a bang, smoke rose. She actually turned into that white-haired old man again. "Juniors, why aren't you kneeling down when you see me? F***CKU. The group of royal prodigies was furious. How could they tolerate this kind of mockery? Go, capture that white-haired little girl alive. The group of royal creatures was so angry that their stomachs hurt, and they surrounded her. Hee, you two idiots, goodbye, I'm leaving now. The white-haired lowly changed back to her original form and stuck out her pink tongue. Runes intertwined under her feet, and her figure was extremely fast as she rushed into the distance. After a while, the group of people chased and was about to enter the interior of the heavenly tomb. The white-haired lowly suddenly stopped in her tracks. In front of her was the depths of the heavenly tomb. All kinds of strange black fog floated. There were also void rifts, terrifying incomplete formations, strange quagmires, and so on. It could be said that even Supremes did not dare to casually enter. "Ha ha, run, you damned girl, run again if you dare!" the group of royal creatures sneered. However, at this moment, rumble! There was movement in the depths of the heavenly tomb. Heaven and earth shook and fog surged. It was as if a peerless evil was about to appear. What is that? The group of royal creatures was terrified, and their hearts skipped a beat. Could it be that they had really alarmed the strange and ominous inside the heavenly tomb? The white-haired lowly was also a little surprised. Her small hand reached for the treasure pouch on her waist. She was ready to use her means to escape. Boom! All kinds of black fog, strange incomplete formations, and broken Tao runes were crushed and shattered. A slender figure in white leisurely walked out from within. Chapter 9:12. Dead silence. Absolute dead silence. That was not an ordinary place, but the depths of the heavenly tomb. The heavenly tomb itself was an eerie forbidden land of 10,000 years. Not to mention the interior of the heavenly tomb, it was a land of death that no one dared to step into. Any quagmire or a corner of a broken formation could take a person's life. Even a treasure hunter wouldn't dare to take a single step into it. But now? What did they see? A white-robed figure without the slightest bit of worldly aura. He walked out from the depths of the heavenly tomb as light as a feather. All kinds of eerie killing formations and broken Tao patterns were directly crushed, unable to stop that figure at all. It was as if the heavenly tomb was a forbidden land of 10,000 years to that white-robed figure. It was as if it was his own backyard, and he could enter and leave as he pleased. How shocking was that! The group of royal beings were all stunned, and their jaws almost fell to the ground. Who was that powerful person? Not to mention them, even the white-haired lowly, who had seen a lot, widened her glass-like eyes and opened her cherry mouth as wide as possible in shock. Could it be that the sleeping old antique has awakened? The royal beings were shocked as they guessed in their hearts. However, looking at his appearance, he did not look like an antique. That white-robed figure's face was faintly discernible with a hazy mist, making it difficult to see clearly. However, looking at his appearance, he did not look like an old man. Could it be that a quasi-emperor or a mortal emperor prodigy went deep and came out now? Another royal creature was making guesses. However, they vaguely felt that even a prodigy from an emperor race would not be able to stroll in the depths of the heavenly tomb like it was his backyard, right? But no matter what, they were certain that the mysterious white-robed man was definitely not someone they could provoke. At that moment, the atmosphere fell into a strange silence. The royal being's body stiffened, and they did not dare to be impudent at all. They did not even dare to breathe heavily. As for the white-haired lowly, she rolled her eyes and followed behind the white-robed figure. She purposely acted obedient and revealed a sweet and cute smile as she asked, "Senior, where did you come from?" "Me?" A voice as gentle as jade rang out. "Wow, it sounds like a handsome guy," the white-haired lowly thought. That voice could definitely make one orgasm. "I came from the heavenly tomb." That one sentence scared those royal prodigies out of their wit. Some of them collapsed to the ground. Coming from the heavenly tomb, what kind of existence was this? As for the six-pointed star phenomenon from before, it was because it appeared in the entire foreign realm. Thus, no one was certain that the dark echelon was in the heavenly tomb. Naturally, he would not think of Jun Xiaoyao at this moment. They only felt that the white-clothed man in front of them was too mysterious. They didn't even have the courage to investigate. After Jun Xiaoyao finished speaking, he left with his hands clasped behind his back. The white-haired lowly followed right behind Jun Xiaoyao as if she was his shadow. "That girl deserves to die." He watched as the white-haired lowly left with the mysterious white-clothed man. The group of royal prodigies were infuriated, but on the surface, they did not dare to act rashly. They did not dare to offend that existence. Therefore, he could only grit his teeth and swallow it. Within the heavenly tomb, a strange scene was playing out. A mysterious, handsome man in snow-white clothes walked leisurely in front, and behind him, a tiny white-haired lowly followed closely behind like a puppy. They were silent along the way. Only when they were hundreds of miles away did Jun Xiaoyao stop in his tracks. Without even turning his head, he said indifferently, "How long do you want to follow me for?" The white-haired lowly chuckled. Her large glass-like eyes turned as she approached Jun Xiaoyao, wanting to see Jun Xiaoyao's appearance clearly. Jun Xiaoyao did not deliberately change his appearance. After all, being handsome was a lifelong thing. Of course, the main reason was that Jun Xiaoyao had the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique. He could even blur karma, so he was not afraid of being discovered. In addition, his face was shrouded in a faint layer of mist, making it even harder for others to recognize his true identity. The white-haired lowly's large eyes flashed. She had also cultivated some kind of eye technique that could see through many illusions in the world. But what surprised her was that she could not completely see through the man in front of her. However, the corner of his face that was vaguely visible in the mist made the white-haired lowly hold her breath. He was so much more handsome than she had imagined. At first, she thought that the person who came out of the heavenly tomb would be an old monster or a middle-aged man. But she did not expect him to be so young and so handsome. "No, Chun-Chun, you are not such a superficial woman," the white-haired lowly named Chun-Chun said in her heart. However, the mysterious origin of Jun Xiaoyao piqued Chun-Chun's curiosity. Chun-Chun just wants to find out his identity. "Yes, there is absolutely no other meaning," Chun-Chun said firmly. "Little one, what do you want to find out?" Sensing the fluctuation of the eye technique, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. Chun-Chun wrinkled her nose when she heard that. No one dared to call her little one, although she was indeed little one. "Thank you for saving Chun-Chun, senior. This blood phoenix immortal herb is for you." Chun-Chun pretended to be obedient and took out the blood phoenix immortal herb. A stalk of immortal herb was shockingly valuable even in the foreign realm. "No need, I didn't save you," Jun Xiaoyao said. He was indeed just passing by and did not make a move. Jun Xiaoyao's attitude made Chun-Chun believe that he had an extraordinary background. Even the emperor race prodigies needed the immortal herb to cultivate. But Jun Xiaoyao did not take it seriously at all. In fact, it was also because Jun Xiaoyao did not lack the immortal herb at all. Jun Xiaoyao continued to move forward, and Chun-Chun followed behind like a little tail. Interesting, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes had a hint of deep meaning and playfulness. He did not expect to meet this race as soon as he came out of the depths of the heavenly tomb. Should he say that he was fated to meet this race? Of course, Jun Xiaoyao did not point it out. He felt that this white-haired lowly was also a chess piece that had value. So he just let her follow him. It was definitely not because Jun Xiaoyao was obsessed with white hair. However, when he thought of white hair, Jun Xiaoyao thought of the woman whose hair turned white overnight because of him. "I wonder how Sister Xingyi is doing, but she probably won't believe the fact that I died." Jun Xiaoyao sighed slightly in his heart. He knew that he owed this woman a lot. He could not return to the celestial realm in a short time. Jun Xiaoyao's melancholy quickly disappeared. He was not one to get emotional over the passing of time, so he quickly adjusted his emotions. Of course, Chun-Chun, the white-haired lowly, was beside him, constantly testing him. "Chun-Chun, may I know senior's name?" "Just call me Mr." "Mr.?" Chun-Chun was puzzled. "Because I like to preach and educate people," Jun Xiaoyao said. "I know about preaching and educating people. Do you like to teach?" "No, I like to educate people biologically." Jun Xiaoyao had nothing to do, so he teased the lowly. As expected, Chun-Chun immediately distanced herself from Jun Xiaoyao. She covered her poor chest with her hands and looked vigilant. Chapter 9:13. Naturally, Chun-Chun's age could not be judged by her appearance. However, because of the simple environment in which she grew up, she was protected and doted on since she was a child, so she could maintain such a naive and straightforward character. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head lightly. She wouldn't be a legal loli like Jiang Luoli, would she? Chun Chun also realized that Jun Xiaoyao was teasing her. She couldn't help but snort. Sir, don't scare me. I'm not a child anymore. I can already give birth to children. Chuanchuan's words made Jun Xiaoyao speechless. If she was like this, if she really did something in his previous life, it would not be as simple as prison food. Next, Jun Xiaoyao also left the heavenly tomb. Chun Chun naturally followed him. Along the way, Chun Chun chirped like a lark. When she was hungry, she took out a drumstick from the treasure pouch at her waist and gnawed on it. It could be seen that she should like to eat chicken very much. As a cultivator, she only needed to absorb the essence of heaven and earth, and didn't need to eat. Obviously, this white-haired loli was just greedy. Sir, where are you going next? Chun Chun asked. Wandering around, Jun Xiaoyao said simply. If he wanted to collect information, he needed to travel more. Then, do you know about the upcoming Celestial Immortal Banquet in the Heavenly Tomb State? Chun Chun asked. Celestial Immortal Banquet? Only then did Jun Xiaoyao remember. When he preached to Fei Qingxue, he seemed to have heard about the Celestial Immortal Banquet from the royal creatures. Yes, there are many magical places in the Heavenly Tomb State. In addition to the Heavenly Tomb, there is also a place called the Fallen Immortal Ridge. There is a celestial immortal tree in the Fallen Immortal Ridge. It is said that it is an ancient tree nourished by a drop of immortal blood, and its leaves contain immortal patterns. Tea made with immortal spirit leaves can make people comprehend the Tao on the spot with just a cup. In addition, there is an even rarer celestial immortal fruit. It bears fruit once in 1,000 years, and there are only a few fruits now. At this point, Chun Chun was drooling. She came to the Heavenly Tomb State to participate in the Heavenly Immortal Banquet. It would be even better if she could taste a heavenly immortal fruit. Jun Xiaoyao also got some information from Chun Chun. The place he was in was one of the foreign side's 10 great provinces, Heavenly Tomb Great Province. The Heavenly Immortal Banquet was undoubtedly the most sensational event in recent times. A celestial immortal tree nourished by immortal blood. Jun Xiaoyao's interest was piqued. Moreover, he did not forget that Fei Qingxue, the daughter of Providence and one of his chess pieces, was also going to participate in the Heavenly Immortal Banquet. Coincidentally, he could also meet with this devout believer and begin to plan for the next stage. Then let's go to the Heavenly Immortal Banquet, Jun Xiaoyao said calmly. Yay! Chun Chun cheered. At the Heavenly Immortal Banquet, young experts would appear. Chun Chun wasn't certain that she could get a celestial immortal fruit either. But with Jun Xiaoyao around, things were different. This mysterious mister from the Heavenly Tomb had a deep and restrained aura. It was so pure that no one could see through him. But she instinctively felt that those young geniuses of the Heavenly Tomb Great Province were definitely no match for this mister. Next, Jun Xiaoyao and Chun Chun went to the venue of the Heavenly Immortal Banquet. Along the way, with Chun Chun around, Jun Xiaoyao was not bored. It was equivalent to picking up a pet. Chun Chun was very dissatisfied with Jun Xiaoyao calling her tiny tot. Sometimes, she would directly take out a fox mask from the treasure pouch at her waist and put it on her face. Smoke rose, and with a shake of her body, she transformed into a great beauty with a curvy figure. What do you think, mister? Am I big? Chun Chun giggled. Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. He found that Chuanchuan's illusion was very powerful. She was like a little witch who could change her appearance. The Heavenly Immortal Banquet was held in the Fallen Immortal Ridge, and there was an ancient city 100 miles away from the Fallen Immortal Ridge. This city was usually a little cold and desolate. However, once the date of the Heavenly Immortal Banquet came, this city would be extremely lively. The elites of the royal family, who were pulled by the flaming dragon horses, came in a line. In the sky there were flying demonic beasts, pulling gorgeous carriages across the void. There were also various flying boats, warships, and bronze chariots. It could be said that it was extremely lively. Among these heavenly talents who gathered, there was no lack of peerless heavenly talents from the royal family and the top royal family. Even the quasi-emperor clans showed up. At this moment, outside the city, a peerless and otherworldly white-clothed man and a delicate and beautiful white-haired young woman arrived at this place. "We're finally here, but the heavenly immortal banquet won't start until a few days later. Mister, we can go into the city and wait for a few days," Chunchun said. Jun Xiaoyao nodded, and the two of them entered. However, when Chunchun entered, she put on the fox mask again and turned into a little attendant with red lips and white teeth. "This matches your temperament, mister," Chunchun said with a smile. Jun Xiaoyao sighed helplessly. She liked to change so much. At the same time, on a rather bustling street in the city, there were 3 inner and 3 outer layers, surrounded by many foreign creatures. They all looked as if they were waiting to watch a good show. This was because there were 2 royal families confronting each other. These 2 royal families were the Ice Spirit Royal Family and the Fiery Rock Royal Family. Everyone in the Heavenly Tomb State knew about the feud between these 2 royal families. They had been enemies for generations. When the Ice Spirit Royal Family was at its peak, the Fiery Rock Royal Family was suppressed to the point that they couldn't even raise their heads. Now that the Ice Spirit Royal Family was declining, the Fiery Rock Royal Family started to suppress them again. TSK, looks like Prince Yen is determined to take the Ice Spirit Royal Family's Princess Fei Qingxue as his concubine. Sigh, but have you heard that Fei Qingxue seems to have obtained a great opportunity in the Heavenly Tomb? That's right. She has broken through to the Sage King realm. I heard that the crippled bone has recovered and seems to have become stronger. Many whispers sounded in the surroundings. In the square, Prince Yen, who was the leader of the Fiery Rock Royal Family, was tall and handsome. He wore a golden imperial robe. His hair was burning like flames and his eyes were red. Hearing the discussions around him, he had a playful smile on his face as he looked at the beautiful girl opposite him. "Fei Qingxue, I didn't expect that you would really find such a great opportunity in the Heavenly Tomb, turning a chicken into a phoenix. But even so, it doesn't change the fact that the Ice Spirit Royal Family is declining. You can't change your fate of marrying me as my concubine." Prince Yan's tone had a hint of pride, as if he was judging Fei Qingxue's fate. If Fei Qingxue had heard this before, she might have been embarrassed and angry. But now she just sneered. After seeing the great god of fate and creation, Fei Qingxue thought that even if there was an existence that could control fate, that supreme being should also be the great god of fate and creation. Not Prince Yen in front of her. Her fate could be given to the god of fate and creation. But she would never give it to Prince Yen. Chapter 9:14. You have no more room to consider. The heavenly immortal banquet is about to begin. Why don't you take advantage of this auspicious day and marry me? Prince Yen said lightly. You want to marry me as your concubine? Do you have the ability? Fei Qingxue asked. Her silver hair was as smooth as snow. Her cheeks were elegant, her lips were bright red, and her teeth were sparkling. Her skin was as white as snow. At this moment, her beautiful eyes were filled with confidence and arrogance. She was no longer the crippled bone princess. Do you really think that you can be so arrogant just because you had a fortuitous encounter in the heavenly tomb? Prince Yen narrowed his eyes. In the next moment, his feet flashed, and he pressed down on Fei Qingxue with one hand. Flame runes imprinted in the void, turning into a sea of fire. Facing Prince Yan's attack, Fei Qingxue's lips curled into a cold smile. If it was before, she would have been powerless against Prince Yen. But now, because she had faith in her heart, she was fearless. Rumble! Dazzling icy blue light surged in Fei Qingxue's chest, and an extreme chill surged. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao had given Fei Qingxue a drop of sovereign divine blood. This drop of sovereign divine blood had transformed Fei Qingshue's crippled icy heavenly bone into an extremely transformed icy Dao bone. The difference of one word was like the difference between heaven and earth. Absolute zero. Fei Qingxue used the icy spirit royal family's grand superpower. The icy Dao bone released an unprecedented energy fluctuation, and a cold wave surged out. Prince Yan's expression changed. This was completely beyond his expectations. Its power was so strong that even the sea of fire was frozen. In just a moment, Prince Yan had turned into an ice sculpture. Prince. The surrounding experts of the Cinderclaw royal family were shocked. However, after sensing Prince Yan's life aura, they secretly heaved a sigh of relief. However, when he looked at Fei Qingxue, his eyes were filled with shock. When did the crippled bone princess of the icy spirit royal family become so powerful? Even if she had a fortuitous encounter in the heavenly tomb, it was impossible for her to become so strong. Looking at everyone's shocked gazes, Fei Qingshue's expression was calm, but there was a cold smile on her lips. How could such a vulgar person know the power of the gods of fate and creation? A drop of blood and a cultivation technique could change her fate. However, a lazy laugh could be heard all of a sudden. Tisk tisk, the princess of the ice spirit royal family is quite decisive. Hearing this voice, many people looked in the direction of the voice. 9 crimson flood dragons were pulling a magnificent carriage through the air. After that, a handsome young man with a fur collar and black clothes walked out unhurriedly from the carriage. This handsome young man had an extraordinary temperament and a superior aura. He looked at Fei Qingxue with a nonchalant air of superiority. It's the Black Peacock Royal Clan, one of the top 10 royal clans. That is the young expert of the Black Peacock Royal family, Kong Xiang. This Kong Xiang is not only powerful, but he also has a cousin called Kong Qianqian. Her strength is comparable to the 10 heavenly kings of the younger generation. Not only that, I heard that Kong Qianqian is the future daughter-in-law of an emperor clan. Seeing this handsome young man, many people exclaimed in surprise. The top 10 royal clans were almost the reserve forces of the boundary emperor clans. The Scarlet Owl clan was a good example. As long as the Peacock King could break through to the Immortal King realm like the Scarlet Owl King, the Black Peacock royal family would immediately become a boundary emperor clan. Therefore, no one dared to provoke the Black Peacock royal family. Not to mention, the Black Peacock royal family also had a genius, Kong Qianqian. Her strength was comparable to that of the 10 heavenly kings. She was the future daughter-in-law of an emperor clan. It could be said that her status was not something that ordinary royal family geniuses could compare to. Even the entire Black Peacock royal family could not be provoked. Seeing Kong Xiang arrive, Fei Qingshue's heart sank. She was not afraid of the Firestone royal family or Prince Yan. However, she was not alone. She had the Ice Spirit royal family behind her. The Black Peacock royal family and the Ice Spirit royal family were not on the same level. She did not have the qualifications to provoke Kong Xiang. Aya, this cheap friend of mine is really pitiful. He can't even get a woman. Kong Xiang shook his head and clicked his tongue. He had met Prince Yan at a wine and meat gathering. Actually, they did not have a deep friendship. However, Prince Yan's flattery skills were very good, and he managed to curry favor with Kong Xiang. Kong Xiang was also happy to have someone flatter him. Therefore, he said that Prince Yan could come to him if he had any difficulties. Kong Xiang would not be bothered to help if he was in big trouble. However, Kong Xiang was still willing to help when it came to small matters like snatching a woman. Kong Xiang raised his hand. Divine light flowed in his palm. Then, he slapped Prince Yan, who had already been frozen into an ice sculpture. A series of cracking sounds rang out. The ice on Prince Yan's body cracked and fell off. Prince Yan's body trembled as he gasped for breath. "You bitch!" Prince Yan immediately glared at Fei Qingxue, his eyes filled with anger. "Prince Yan, you are in a sorry state. You can't even deal with a woman." Kong Xiang sighed. So, it is Brother Kong Xiang. Many thanks for Brother Kong Xiang's help. When Prince Yen saw Kong Xiang, he bowed. He no longer had the pride of a royal clan prince. When the other Fiery Rock royal clan experts saw this, they did not find anything wrong with it. In the foreign lands, those with high status and strong strength would be respected. It looks like your concubine is not very obedient, Kong Xiang said. I have made a fool of myself in front of Brother Kong Xiang. Prince Yen blushed with shame. It's fine. We are friends. It is just a small matter. Could it be that this Ice Spirit royal clan dares to reject me? Kong Xiang smiled, not minding it. In that case, I will thank Brother Kong Xiang in advance. Prince Yen was overjoyed. Then, he turned to look at Fei Qingxue with a cold and tyrannical expression. When Prince Yen obtained Fei Qingxue, he would definitely properly teach her a lesson. Kong Xiang looked at Fei Qingxue. Fei Qingxue was extremely beautiful and had an excellent aura, like a snow lotus on an ice mountain. However, as the pride of the Black Peacock royal clan, he had seen many beauties. He would not snatch her away. It is your honor that my friend has taken a liking to you. Today, after the heavenly immortal banquet, Prince Yen will take you as his concubine. No objections, Kong Xiang said indifferently. These words did not give Fei Qingxue a choice at all. He also did not think that Fei Qingxue would dare to reject him. However, in the next moment, Fei Qingxue's words stunned Kong Xiang. I, Fei Qingxue, will not become Prince Yan's concubine even if I die. Also, you are disgusting too. Fei Qingxue's tone was cold, not giving Kong Xiang any face. She did not know why. If it was in the past, she might have been afraid, hesitant. However, after seeing that supreme existence in the heavenly tomb, she suddenly felt relieved. If she could not even control her own fate, then what qualifications did she have to become a devout believer of the God of fate and creation? Chapter 9:15. What did you say? Kong Xiang was stunned. He thought he was hallucinating. She was the princess of the Ice Spirit royal family, which had fallen so far that it was about to fall out of the 100 royal families. How dare she speak to him with such an attitude? It felt like a slave stepping on his master's head. She didn't even care about seniority. I won't repeat myself. Fei Qingxue stood there. Her figure was slim, like a plum blossom in winter. Although she had gone through the harsh winter, she still bloomed proudly, blooming with her own beauty and perseverance. Who said that women couldn't control their own fate? Fei Qingxue, how dare you speak to Brother Kong Xiang like that? Prince Yen shouted. If Fei Qingxue continued to talk back, it wouldn't be a matter of becoming his concubine. It would be another matter if she could survive. The surrounding foreign creatures all sucked in a cold breath of air, extremely shocked and surprised. Fei Qingxue's guts were simply too big. It was no different from courting death. Interesting, very interesting. I've seen many women who pretend to be virtuous, but in the end, they still kneel at my feet one by one and rush to lick my shoes. Kong Xiang smiled, but his smile was a little cold. He slowly raised his hand. Divine light surged in his palm. It was the Black Peacock royal family's secret technique, killing light. A wave of great saint realm cultivation spread out. At his age, he was already considered a monster to have reached the supreme saint realm. Fei Qingxue's expression was grave. Although she had obtained an opportunity to break through to the Saint King realm, but obviously, it was impossible for her to catch up with those top royal family geniuses in a short time. Just as Kong Xiang was about to make a move, a few rainbows flew over from afar. They were the Ice Spirit royal family elders. Young Master Kong Xiang, please forgive our Fei Qingxue for talking back. We will arrange for her to marry Prince Yen. These elders of the Icy Spirit royal family were all very humble. Elders, all of you, Fei Qingxue bit her lip. Indeed, she wasn't alone. She had the Ice Spirit royal family behind her. If she really angered Kong Xiang, the entire Ice Spirit royal family would be in great danger. As if he saw the hesitation in Fei Qingshue's eyes, Kong Xiang revealed a playful look. "AI, this young master is actually very easy to talk to. Let this Fei Qingxue kneel, crawl to my feet, and lick my shoes. Then, this matter will be over," Kong Xiang said calmly. Young Master Kong Xiang, the elders of the Icy Spirit royal family clenched their fists tightly, their pupils trembling. His heart was filled with rage, but he did not dare to show it. They had already lowered their posture very much, almost as if they were the sons of AB*TCH. Yet, this Kong Xiang actually dared to humiliate him like this. Prince Yen opened his mouth, wanting to say something. However, in the end, he didn't dare to open his mouth. Fei Qingxue would become his concubine in the future. Now, she had to crawl on the streets and lick Kong Xiang's shoes. To Prince Yen, this was a loss of face. He might even be laughed at. But in the end, he didn't say anything. Fei Qingshue's delicate body trembled slightly. Her silver eyes seemed to have stirred up a biting cold wind. "You don't want to do it?" "Sure, but I wonder if your Ice Spirit royal family can bear the consequences?" Kong Xiang asked indifferently. Fei Qingxue took a deep breath, her nails digging into her palms. Grasping one's own fate might be very simple. At worst, it would just be death. However, grasping the fate of an entire race was very difficult. Fei Qingxue revealed a somewhat bleak smile. This was the cold and iron-blooded law of the jungle in this foreign land. If one was weak, had a weak status, and had a weak background, there was no dignity to speak of. Just as Fei Qingxue was struggling, a voice as gentle as jade suddenly rang out. "I think that you can give a demonstration first." This voice was both near and far. However, it seemed to resound in everyone's ears. Many people were startled and looked around. Who is it? Who would have the guts to provoke Kong Xiang at this time? The crowd in front was pushed aside by a strange aura. Two figures leisurely walked over. The one in the lead was dressed in white. He had a slender figure and a restrained aura. He was like a bottomless pit, making it hard for others to see through him. His face seemed to be shrouded in mist. However, one could vaguely see a corner of his face. He looked like a celestial being, stunning everyone. Beside the white-robed man was a petite little attendant with red lips and white teeth. She blinked her big eyes and looked at the situation curiously. They were none other than Jun Xiaoyao and Chunchun. "Which family is this young master from?" Some of the foreign land creatures were stunned and very curious. However, no matter how they probed, they couldn't sense Jun Xiaoyao's aura at all, let alone his cultivation level. Even his appearance was like looking at flowers in the mist. They only felt that he was very stunning, but they couldn't remember clearly afterward. This was naturally the effect of the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique. However, in any case, Jun Xiaoyao was very mysterious in everyone's eyes. Who are you?" Kong Xiang looked at Jun Xiaoyao and frowned. He couldn't sense Jun Xiaoyao's aura either. However, he only thought that Jun Xiaoyao had some kind of Dharma artifact that blocked his senses. He definitely didn't think that this ridiculously young man would be stronger than him. "Who I am is not important. What's important is whether you can demonstrate how to lie on the ground and lick a shoe," Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. "Haha, the hero saving the beauty. This is a bit tacky. Besides, do you have the capital to save him?" Kong Xiang smiled, revealing his white and shiny teeth. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled as well, refusing to comment on the matter. He stood up naturally because Fei Qingxue was the Lady of Luck that he had personally created. He even gave her a drop of precious supreme divine blood. How could such a chess piece be forced to death by Kong Xiang? Wouldn't that ruin his plan? Jun Xiaoyao had always been merciless to people who ruined his plans. Fei Qingxue also looked at Jun Xiaoyao with her beautiful eyes. She couldn't help but be amazed by him. Jun Xiaoyao's temperament was excellent. He was like a celestial being who walked in the chaotic world. However, why would he help her? The few Ice Spirit royal family elders were also puzzled. However, they didn't think that this white-clothed prince could suppress Kong Xiang. However, before Kong Xiang could get angry, Prince Yen jumped out from the side and said, "Who are you? How dare you be so presumptuous?" Jun Xiaoyao's eyes narrowed, and a chaotic divine light flashed in his eyes. His gaze was like an invisible chaotic sword light. The void trembled. A loud boom sounded. Puff! Prince Yan's entire body and primordial spirit exploded at the same time. Blood mist and broken bones were blown away by the wind. All of a sudden, the entire area fell into absolute silence. All the onlookers were shocked and felt their scalps go numb. It was as if a basin of cold water had been poured on their hearts. Killing a royal heavenly talent with a gaze? What kind of heaven-defying technique was this? Chapter 9:16. Gasps could be heard from all around. Their eyes were filled with unprecedented shock and disbelief. Prince Yen was a top prodigy of the cinder-classed royal family. Although he couldn't be compared to the 10 heavenly kings, he was still quite famous among the younger generation of the heavenly tomb state. Yet, he was killed by a single glare. How terrifying was that? What was even more terrifying was that Jun Xiaoyao didn't release any aura throughout the entire process. As a result, no one could figure out what cultivation level Jun Xiaoyao was at. The entire place was as silent as cicadas in winter. No one could react in time. Even Kong Xiang felt that it was unreal for a moment. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent. He could kill such a person with a casual glare when he was in the divine ruins. Not to mention now that his cultivation level and strength had increased greatly, a glare was more than enough. "You're courting death." Those cinder-classed royal family experts were stunned for a few breaths before they reacted. Because even they themselves thought that they were hallucinating. All the cinder-classed royal family experts' eyes turned red. If Prince Yen died, the guards wouldn't be able to escape death either. Therefore, all of them charged forward with bloodshot eyes. There was no lack of great sage perfection experts among them. This was a very powerful cultivation level in the foreign realm. However, Jun Xiaoyao only glanced at them. Chaotic divine light surged in his eyes. His eyes seemed to have turned into primordial chaotic black holes. This was also an ability of the chaotic physique, the chaotic eye. Bang, 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 bang. A series of explosions sounded. The heads of those cinder-classed royal family experts exploded like watermelons. Blood mist drifted in the sky. The noisy street fell into absolute silence. Fei Qingxue couldn't help but cover her red lips with her jade-like hand. She was too shocked. When did such a powerful and mysterious prodigy appear in the heavenly tomb state? Kong Xiang's face stiffened. He was completely dumbfounded. His eyeballs almost fell out of their socket. It wasn't that he had never seen a true top prodigy. He had even seen monarch race prodigies. However, no matter how powerful they were, they would at least be able to kill them. How could they be like this mysterious white-clothed young man in front of him? He could kill with a casual glance? Just how powerful was he? Or did he have some kind of special physique? Perhaps this was not a young man at all, but an old monster? Say, Senior, why are you pretending to be young and fooling us? Kong Xiang braced himself and asked. To possess such an ability, one must have at least broken through the 9th level of the Saint Realm and stepped into the 7th level of the Martial Saint Realm. This kind of person, even in the top royal families, was in existence of the older generation. He wasn't someone he could offend. Senior? I'm not worthy of this status, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. Everyone could hear the hint of mockery in his words. The corners of Kong Xiang's eyes twitched, and he felt as if his heart was being squeezed by a large hand. It was extremely uncomfortable. He had always been in a high position, playing with those lower life forms as he pleased. In the end, at this moment, he himself had become a lower life form that was being controlled by Jun Xiaoyao at will. His cultivation base was also at the Great Saint Realm, which was similar to the elites of the Cinderstone royal family. If Jun Xiaoyao could kill them with a single glance, he could naturally kill Kong Xiang as well. I've said it before. You can demonstrate how to lie on the ground and lick someone else's shoes, Jun Xiaoyao said. Kong Xiang's pupils constricted, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Jun Xiaoyao's humiliation was even worse than killing him. Why? You can order others around, but you can't do it yourself? That's because my status is higher than hers and I'm stronger than her, Kong Xiang gritted his teeth and said. That's simple. I'm stronger than you, so I can kill you now. Jun Xiaoyao's words carried a hint of coldness and killing intent. Kong Xiang took a deep breath and stared at Jun Xiaoyao. Don't go too far. I'm from the Black Peacock royal family. My cousin is Kong Qianqian, and she's engaged to someone from the immortal emperor family. Kong Xiang brought out his backer. Kong Qianqian alone might not be able to suppress this mysterious man in front of him. However, with the immortal emperor family, it should be enough. After all, the immortal emperor family was a heaven-like existence in the foreign realm. They were the highest law. There was a saying in the foreign realm. Even if it was a dog that walked out of the immortal emperor family, they had to be treated like an ancestor. Hearing this, the surrounding foreign realm creatures secretly nodded. This Kong Xiang really knew how to borrow power. The immortal emperor family was indeed very intimidating. Although that Kong Qianqian was very likely just one of the concubines of the immortal emperor family prodigy. Jun Xiaoyao laughed. He felt that it was very laughable. In the world of the divine ruins, Tushan Xiaoxiao and Pu Yao from the immortal emperor family were beaten like dogs by him. In the end, Kong Xiang actually used Kong Qianqian and her immortal emperor family fiancé to threaten him. It was really absurd and laughable. Jun Xiaoyao didn't say anything. Chunchun curled her lips and said, "What's the big deal about marrying into an immortal emperor family? She's just a concubine, nothing more than a fart." The group of foreign realm creatures were dumbfounded when they heard this. This little attendant's words were really shocking. "All right, my patience is limited." Jun Xiaoyao casually stepped out. Boom! Kong Xiang's entire body was directly pressed to the ground by a terrifying aura. His limbs were spread open like a tortoise. A feeling of being on the verge of death descended on Kong Xiang's heart. He had no doubt that if he didn't do as he was told, he would be crushed in the next moment. I'll do it. Kong Xiang slowly crawled toward Jun Xiaoyao like a dog. The entire place was dead silent. Who would have thought that one of the top 10 royal families, the pride of the Black Peacock royal family, would crawl like a dog in the downtown area and lick someone's shoes? The Ice Spirit royal family elders were also petrified and a little dumbfounded. "Young master, where did you come from? How dare you offend the Black Peacock royal family like this?" Yeah, he offended both the Fiery Rock royal family and the Black Peacock royal family. The Ice Spirit royal family elders were still in disbelief. Only Fei Qingxue looked at Jun Xiaoyao with eyes that had never been brighter before. She knew that Jun Xiaoyao insisted on making Kong Xiang lick his shoes on the ground to vent her anger. Why? Fei Qingxue was overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. Why did this mysterious and peerless young master care about her so much? Kong Xiang's face was full of humiliation. Blood dripped from the corners of his mouth and chin. Like a dead dog, he crawled toward Jun Xiaoyao's feet. He endured the extreme humiliation and wanted to lick Jun Xiaoyao's shoes. But the next moment, Jun Xiaoyao stomped his foot. Bang! A blast of air rose and Kong Xiang's entire body exploded. His body and primordial spirit no longer existed. "Sorry, I'm a clean freak." Jun Xiaoyao's indifferent words fell like a feather falling to the ground. Everyone around was stunned and then incomparably horrified. The pride of the top royal family was killed just like that? And he killed him after toying with him. This young master was a ruthless person. The Ice Spirit royal family elders were stunned and their scalps went numb. This was going to pierce through the sky. The surrounding atmosphere instantly boiled and exploded. Jun Xiaoyao walked in front of Fei Qingxue indifferently, an inexplicable look in his eyes. It was time to continue fooling this daughter of Providence. "Aren't you going to entertain me?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. "Oh, okay, young master, come with Qingxue." Fei Qingxue was startled like a frightened rabbit at first, then her fair skin instantly turned red with a trace of panic and shyness. Seeing this, Chun rolled her eyes. Was the handsome guy going to harm a good girl again? Fei Qingxue led Jun Xiaoyao and Chun to the Ice Spirit Royal Family's encampment. The elders of the Ice Spirit Royal Family, however, looked worried and followed him. There was a lot of noise around. "Oh my God, who is that young master in white? Is he really the heir of an emperor family? I've never heard of him. But if he doesn't have a powerful background, he probably can't afford to offend the Black Peacock Royal Family, right? Then let's wait and see." Kong Xiang's death. His cousin Kong Qianqian will definitely not let him go. When the Heavenly Immortal Banquet begins, there will be a good show. Chapter 9:17. The entire ancient city was in an uproar. Countless people were talking about Jun Xiaoyao. He was very curious about this mysterious young man in white. As for Kong Xiang, he came to the ancient city in advance to support Prince Yan. In the end, he even lost his life. His cousin, Kong Qianqian, would come on the day of the Heavenly Immortal Banquet. One could imagine that the real show would begin when the Heavenly Immortal Banquet began. At this moment, in the western area of the ancient city there was a rather exquisite courtyard. It was the residence of the Ice Spirit Royal Family. Fei Qingxue brought Jun Xiaoyao and Chun here. The three of them entered a pavilion. As for the Ice Spirit Royal Family elders, they were discussing something with a worried look on their faces. At the same time, they were also sending messages to Heavenly Venerable Ice Spirit. After all, the incident this time was too big. They had offended the Firestone Royal Family and the Black Peacock Royal Family. Perhaps the Ice Spirit Royal Family would also be implicated. In the foreign realm, it was not uncommon for a family to be wiped out. At this moment, in the pavilion, Jun Xiaoyao sat in the seat of honor. Chun sat beside him. Fei Qingxue stood there respectfully. She knew that no matter where this man in white came from, he was definitely not someone she could be rude to. Besides, Fei Qingxue was extremely grateful to Jun Xiaoyao. After all, not everyone could offend the Firestone Royal Family and the Black Peacock Royal Family for a stranger. "Little one, you go out first," Jun Xiaoyao said lightly. Chun wrinkled her little nose when she heard that. Although she did not like this title, she still let out a snort and left. In the pavilion, only Jun Xiaoyao and Fei Qingxue were left. Fei Qingxue was inexplicably nervous. Why did this man ask the others to go out? Was it like in the stories, where the hero saved the beauty and promised to marry her? But for some reason, Fei Qingxue did not feel too disgusted or resistant. This was definitely not because the man in white in front of her was handsome and strong. Well, that was definitely not the case. "Do you know why I saved you?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. Qingxue doesn't know. Fei Qingxue lowered her head. Jun Xiaoyao suddenly stood up. A vast aura overflowed from it. In the next moment, her surroundings changed. Fei Qingxue seemed to have been pulled into the depths of the vast starry sky. A familiar aura and pressure caused Fei Qingxue's expression to change abruptly. Her face was filled with deep shock. She looked at Jun Xiaoyao, her heart beating rapidly. Could it be, I am the god of fate and creation, the spokesperson of the mortal realm, his preacher, and the embodiment of his will? Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm as his voice reverberated throughout the starry sky. The reason why Jun Xiaoyao didn't directly say that he was the god of fate and creation was because he didn't want to be called the god of fate and creation. This was because gods had to be high and mighty, mysterious and unfathomable. Only then could they inspire reverence in people's hearts. If God lifted the veil, the deterrence would be much less. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao would not directly say that he was the god of fate and creation. Instead, he made himself the spokesperson of God. In this way, Jun Xiaoyao's authoritative position was not shaken. God was still the high and mighty God. Fei Qingxue greets the oracle. Fei Qingxue knelt down. She finally understood why this white-clothed man would save her. Turned out that he was the oracle of the god of fate and creation. He sensed her suffering and came to her rescue. This strengthened Fei Qingxue's faith in him. You don't have to be nervous. Just call me sir. As long as you are a devout believer of the god of fate and creation, God will favor his believers. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly, his expression calm. Of course. Qingxue is an eternal believer of the god of fate and creation. I am willing to sacrifice everything for him, Fei Qingxue said with a devout expression. Very good. I also know that the situation of the Ice Spirit royal family is indeed not very good. But it doesn't matter. God will protect you. Next, you can teach the Taoist heart demonic seed art that God bestowed upon you to the others in the clan to cultivate. Then, your entire clan will quietly become stronger. After that, wait for my orders and arrangements to pass the Taoist heart demonic seed art to the other royal and general clans, Jun Xiaoyao said. He finally revealed his purpose for coming here. Jun Xiaoyao was now laying out a step-by-step plan. The weakest slave clan had to obey you as a pawn. As for the royal family, Jun Xiaoyao would not be able to infiltrate those prosperous royal families in a short time. The declining Ice Spirit royal family happened to be the best pawn. They were also the ones who desired to become stronger the most. As long as there was a desire, there would be a desire to take advantage of it. After Jun Xiaoyao controlled the Ice Spirit royal family, he would infiltrate the other royal families step by step. Of course, this was not something that could be done in a short time. Even infiltrating the Ice Spirit royal family needed to be done step by step. After all, there were also powerhouses like Celestial Venerable Ice Spirit in the Ice Spirit royal family. Jun Xiaoyao figured that even if it was just a declining Ice Spirit royal family, the power of faith provided by it would still be more than hundreds of slave clans. Of course, the slave clans could quickly spread their faith. In terms of speed and scale, they were far superior to the royal families. Qingxue will follow your orders, Fei Qingxue bowed and said. In the next moment, the world changed, and they returned to the original pavilion. Fei Qingxue was nervous and shy before. In fact, there were even some muddle-headed fantasies. But now, she had absolute respect and admiration for Jun Xiaoyao. After all, this was the oracle of the god of fate and creation, the spokesperson of the human world. All right, let's wait for the celestial immortal banquet to begin. Also, tell your clan's elders not to worry. I will not ignore the troubles of the Cinder-classed royal family and the Black Peacock royal family, Jun Xiaoyao said. Thank you, sir. Fei Qingxue's pretty face was flushed, revealing a trace of excitement. What she was most worried about was whether the two royal families would take revenge on the Ice Spirit royal family. Now it seemed that with Jun Xiaoyao around, what was there to be afraid of? In the small courtyard, a few Ice Spirit royal family elders were a little anxious. After all, this matter was caused by Fei Qingxue. The Ice Spirit royal family could not escape the responsibility. Elders, don't worry. Fei Qingxue walked over. Miss Qingxue, that young master's identity is. There was a glimmer of hope in an elder's eyes. They did not hope that Jun Xiaoyao was the successor of the Immortal Emperor clan. As long as he was from the Quasi-Emperor clan, this crisis could be resolved. Fei Qingxue shook her head faintly and said, Elders, don't worry about this kind of thing. Everything will be clear during the celestial immortal banquet. Hearing Fei Qingxue's words, the elders' worried faces did not diminish. They could only hope that a miracle would happen. Fei Qingxue saw the elders' worried faces and secretly felt a little amused. You don't even know what kind of background Mr. has. You don't even know what kind of supreme existence is standing behind him. Chapter 9:18. After a few days, everyone in the ancient city could feel it. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth was rolling and boiling like an ocean. The heavenly immortal banquet is about to begin. The geniuses of the general and royal clans were excited and eager to try. I heard that there are 5 heavenly immortal fruits on the heavenly immortal tree this time. I wonder who will be lucky enough to taste them. Don't even think about it. You might not even be able to drink a cup of immortal tea made from immortal spiritual leaves, let alone the heavenly immortal fruit. Even a whiff of the tea's fragrance is enough to elevate one's cultivation, let alone drinking it. A lot of discussions came from all around the ancient city. By the way, I wonder if the mysterious young master who killed Prince Yen and Kong Xiang a few days ago will attend the banquet? I think so. There will be a good show to watch. While the entire ancient city was in an uproar, in the courtyard of the icy spirit royal family, the heavenly immortal banquet is about to begin. Fei Qingxue said respectfully. Jun Xiaoyao walked out calmly, looking into the distance with a calm expression. A giant peak that almost reached the clouds was faintly discernible in the clouds. He could sense a dense flow of energy, accompanied by the radiance of the immortal Tao. The foreign realm was vast and filled with resources. It was even bigger than the 9 heavens' immortal realm. There were all kinds of heaven-defying opportunities. The heavenly immortal tree was one of them. Let's go, Jun Xiaoyao said. He, Chun, and Fei Qingxue set off together. Several elders of the icy spirit royal family followed behind him, frowning. It's the icy spirit royal family. That mysterious young master is going to attend the heavenly immortal banquet too. This is going to be interesting. Many people were paying attention to Jun Xiaoyao's movements. Jun Xiaoyao's appearance at the moment undoubtedly caused an uproar all around. The fallen immortal ridge was a famous treasure land in the heavenly tomb state. As the name suggested, it was said that a drop of immortal blood had fallen here. It nourished a heavenly immortal tree. The entire fallen immortal ridge was shrouded in mist and spiritual light. There were green pines, green cypresses, jade flowers, and ravines. It was a spectacular sight. At the center of the fallen immortal ridge was a strange peak that towered into the clouds like a pillar. The peak was where the heavenly immortal tree grew. This strange peak was very special. It had a special domain. Even a sage would find it difficult to fly through the air, as they would be greatly suppressed. Because of this, the heavenly immortal banquet gradually became the place where the geniuses of the heavenly tomb state competed. Only the strong could reach the peak. Immortal fruit. Meanwhile, at this moment, the surrounding mountain ridges were already densely packed with foreign creatures. Among them, the ones with the lowest status were still from the general clan. The slave race didn't have the qualifications to set foot in this place. On top of a certain mountain ridge, a group of royal creatures were having a discussion. They could be said to be the most elite group of geniuses at the heavenly immortal banquet. One of the royal prodigies had 4 pairs of eyes on his face and a pair of moth-like wings on his back. The Moth Demon royal clan was ranked in the top 50 of the 100 great royal clans, and was considered one of the more prosperous royal clans. Our world suffered a crushing defeat in the divine ruins. Apart from Pu Yao and Tushan Xiaoxiao, all of the younger generation died. It's really shocking. What's even more shocking is that I heard that there was only one immortal realm prodigy who defeated our world. At the side, a young man with 2 golden horns on his forehead clicked his tongue and sighed. He was a young prodigy of the golden sheep race. That person is the son of God of the immortal realm's Jun family. His name is Jun Xiaoyao. I heard that he was a peerless man. In the end, he sealed the evil intent of a god and died. I really want to see what kind of person he is. A beautiful woman in a silver dress asked with a hint of curiosity in her eyes. She was a prodigy of the silver royal race. The silver royal race was one of the top 10 royal races, just like the Black Peacock royal race. Silver Spirit, you sound like there are no good men in our world. The young prodigy of the Golden Sheep race shook his head. That's not the case. A while ago there was a shocking phenomenon. A black hexagram appeared in the sky. Some people said that the dark echelon of the Doomsday Era had awakened, Silver Spirit said. Her words caused the expressions of the royal prodigies present to turn serious. The dark echelon of the Doomsday Era was not someone ordinary prodigies could compare to. Even the 10 heavenly kings of the younger generation were only fit to carry the shoes of the dark echelon. I wonder who that dark echelon is? The prodigy of the moth-demon royal race was also curious. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded from afar. Maybe we can see the dark echelon when the Ares Academy opens? A man in a black cloak appeared in the distance. His hair was as black as ink, and his eyes were like 2 black holes. That's the prodigy of the exotic Taoist race. Some royal prodigies were shocked. The exotic Taoist race was the same as the evil dragon race and the fallen demonic phoenix race. They were all boundary emperor races. This race was rumored to have a portion of the bloodline of the Taotai, a great ancient beast. It was said that they had the ability to swallow the heavens. As expected, a boundary emperor prodigy has appeared. However, what shocked the royal prodigies were the words of the exotic Taoist prodigy. The Ares Academy is really opening? The prodigy of the Golden Sheep race exclaimed. It should be. I heard that the 9 Heavens Immortal Academy, the Supreme Academy in the Immortal region, has already opened. They are going to nurture the true elite. Our world naturally has to take countermeasures. The opening of the Ares Academy is imperative, Silver Spirit said. The Ares Academy is the supreme academy of our world. It hasn't opened for several eras. I didn't expect it to open in this great era. I wonder what kind of storm it will cause. Some royal prodigies sighed. The Ares Academy was named after the god of war. Naturally, it was to nurture the invincible god of war prodigies. Its purpose was the same as the 9 Heavens Immortal Academy in the Immortal region. It was to focus on nurturing the top figures of a world. They could grow into pillars of the world in the future. The invincible gods of war that walked out of the Ares Academy were all existences that could sweep through their peers. In history, there was once a young god of war from the Ares Academy. In the desolate border, he consecutively killed 10 seedlings from the Immortal region. It could be said that his ferocious might overflowed into the heavens. A young supreme being who could be conferred the title of God of War would at least reach the quasi-immortal realm in the future. It wouldn't be difficult for them to reach the true immortal realm. Actually, the reason why the Heavenly Immortal Banquet is opening in the Heavenly Tomb State is also to prepare for the Ares Academy. They want to raise the competitiveness of our Heavenly Tomb State's younger generation. On the other side, a dragon-like roar and snake-like voice sounded. It was a large golden snake. It wasn't big, only about 3 meters long. It had a pair of 3-meter-long wings on its back. It was even larger than the snake's body. It could speak the human language. When it opened its mouth, it released a voice that could penetrate metal and split stone. Boundary Emperor race, Snake race. The surrounding royal prodigies stirred again. It seemed like the competition in today's Heavenly Immortal Banquet would definitely be very intense. Because the Ares Academy was about to open, the stronger one was, the more likely they would be taken in and fight for the title of God of War. Just as everyone was discussing the Heavenly Immortal Banquet and the Ares Academy. In the distant sky, a luxurious ship was flying through the air. 2 figures stood on it. The Black Peacock Royal Race's proud daughter has come. The one beside her is, could it be someone from the Immortal Emperor race? Chapter 9:19. The luxurious ship traversed the void, flowing with brilliant lights and vibrant colors, bringing with it a sense of luxury. In the foreign realm, the hierarchy was strict. The weaker races wouldn't dare to be so arrogant and ride on fancy transportation tools. On the deck of the ship, A young man and woman stood there. The woman was dressed in a long black dress, which outlined her graceful figure. Her appearance was also excellent. She had phoenix eyes, red lips, and jade-like facial features. Her black hair was tied up with a peacock stone hairpin. She exuded a high and mighty aura. She was a cold and arrogant beauty. She was the proud daughter of the black peacock royal race, Kong Chanchan. Beside her stood a man. His face was very young, and there was a divine pattern between his brows. His aura was extraordinary. Standing beside Kong Chanchan, he did not seem inferior at all. Everyone looked over. At first, they were surprised, but then they heaved a sigh of relief. I was scared to death. I thought it was Kong Chanchan's husband. If he came, what could we do? That's right. It's Li Jui of the infernal race. His combat strength is ranked in the top 3 of the 10 heavenly kings. He's a true emperor race elite and one of the leading figures. The man beside Kong Chanchan seems to be Li Jui's servant. He should be here with her to boost her momentum. Kong Chanchan's arrival undoubtedly set off a wave. Even the prodigies of the exotic Taoist race and the snake race did not dare to underestimate her. Although they were the prodigies of the quasi-emperor races, their status was higher than Kong Chanchan's. However, Kong Chanchan was Li Jui's woman. Even if she was just a concubine, her status was not something an ordinary quasi-emperor race could compare to. The immortal emperor races were supreme existences in the foreign realm. Their status was inviolable. Miss Chanchan, Master said that he needs to go into seclusion to prepare for the War God Academy. This time, he asked me to accompany you to pick the immortal spirit leaf and heavenly immortal fruit. The servant of Li Jui was called Wu Kuan. He was thousands of years old. Compared to cultivators, he was considered young. His cultivation was at the quasi-supreme realm. However, at this moment, Kong Chanchan's expression was not too good. There was a hint of coldness in her eyes. Seeing this, Wu Kuan said, "Miss Chanchan, is it because of your cousin? Don't worry, I will settle this matter." Yes. Although that cousin of mine was a good-for-nothing, he was still somewhat related to me by blood. If the white-clothed man who killed him appears today, don't let him leave. Kong Chanchan's tone was indifferent. Kong Xiang was only her cousin. They weren't very close, but he was still part of her family. Kong Xiang was killed, so Kong Chanchan had to do something. If that white-robed man appeared today, he would be able to take care of him. Even if he didn't appear, she had ways to send experts from her clan to look for him. After all, the prestige of a top royal family was not to be challenged. Just as Kong Chanchan was thinking about this, a voice suddenly rang out. All of a sudden, cries of surprise rang out from all around. That white-clothed young master actually came. He's really bold. He knew that Kong Chanchan would come during the heavenly immortal banquet. This time, there are even people from emperor clans accompanying him. This young master might be in a bit of a predicament. Amidst the hubbub, a white-robed young master with a mysterious temperament walked leisurely through the air. His footsteps were light, slow, and leisurely. He didn't emit any shocking aura, but he gave off an unfathomable feeling. Is the heavenly immortal tree up there? The person who appeared was naturally Jun Xiaoyao. He raised his head slightly and could vaguely see an ancient tree shrouded in a hazy immortal mist at the peak of the mountain. Wow, there's going to be heavenly immortal fruits to eat. Chun Chun drooled. Clearly, this little foodie could no longer hold herself back. Fei Qingshue's expression was firm. There was no sign of panic. It was as if in her heart, Jun Xiaoyao's words were unquestionable. If Jun Xiaoyao said there was no need to worry, then there was definitely no need to worry. On the other hand, the few icy spirit royal elders who came with them all looked anxious. Especially when they saw Kong Chanchan and Wu Kuan from the Emperor clan. Their faces were even paler, and their eyes were trembling. The people from the infernal Emperor clan. The icy spirit royal elder was in despair. If the Emperor clan hadn't appeared, there might still be a chance to turn things around. Now, it seemed that Kong Qianqian was going to settle the score with them. The moment Jun Xiaoyao appeared, Kong Qianqian cast her gaze over. She was also stunned for a moment. It had to be said that Jun Xiaoyao's temperament was too extraordinary. It was as if he was a true immortal walking in the mortal world. Although he didn't reveal a trace of his aura, he gave people the feeling that he was even more noble than the Emperor clan. Kong Qianqian and Wu Kuan, who originally had extraordinary temperaments, were in front of Jun Xiaoyao. They were simply like chickens in an instant. "You're the one who killed my cousin?" Kong Qianqian questioned. Only then did Jun Xiaoyao slowly retract his gaze, and then it landed on Kong Qianqian. Divine Lord Cultivation. For her age, she was considered to be extremely talented and powerful. It was no wonder that some people said that Kong Qianqian's strength was close to that of the 10 heavenly kings. However, even Pu Yao, one of the 10 heavenly kings, was no match for Jun Xiaoyao. Kong Qianqian was nothing. Moreover, at that time it was in the world of the divine ruins. Jun Xiaoyao's strength was worlds apart from now. If Jun Xiaoyao wanted to kill Pu Yao now, it wouldn't take much effort. Seeing that Jun Xiaoyao had no intention of answering, Wu Kuan stood up. He said coldly, "Didn't you hear Miss Qianqian's question? You dare to do it but don't dare to admit it?" As soon as Wu Kuan finished speaking, he immediately felt a gaze on him. In an instant, Wu Kuan felt as if a mountain was pressing down on his body. That pressure was even stronger than the pressure of his master, Li Jiui. Thud! 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 Wu Kuan took a few steps back, cold sweat appearing on his back. "Wu Kuan, what's wrong?" Kong Qianqian turned her head. Wu Kuan was a quasi-supreme powerhouse. He had been by Li Jiui's side all year round, and his strength was also extremely impressive. "No, nothing." Wu Kuan exhaled deeply. He was a little puzzled and felt that Jun Xiaoyao was a little strange. However, when he thought of his identity as an Emperor clan member, Wu Kuan's confidence rose. His master was one of the 10 heavenly kings, Li Jiui. Standing behind him was the immortal infernal race. In the entire foreign territory, there were not many people who could make him feel apprehensive. Just as the atmosphere was a little tense, several old antiques who were hosting the Heavenly Immortal Banquet appeared. "Geniuses, the Heavenly Immortal Banquet is about to start. If there's anything, let's settle it later." These old antiques stood in the void, and their strength was extraordinary. If he dares to climb the mountain, we'll take care of him." Kong Qianqian snorted coldly. This time, with Wu Kuan around, she was destined to get the Heavenly Immortal Fruit. "All right, everyone, let the Heavenly Immortal Banquet begin," an old antique said. In an instant, countless ear-piercing sounds of wind breaking rang out between heaven and earth. All the prodigies of the foreign territory rushed towards that towering strange peak almost at the same time. The prodigies of the Moth-Demon Royal Race and the Golden Sheep Race. The prodigy of the Silver Royal Race, Yin Ling. There were also the Quasi-Emperor Race, the Exotic Taoist Race, and the Snake Race. They all rushed up at the same time. Kong Qianqian glanced coldly at Jun Xiaoyao and also climbed the mountain with Wu Kuan. The moment all the prodigies climbed the mountain, a huge pressure pressed down on them. As a result, everyone could only climb step by step. This was also a kind of test. Some of the creatures who didn't participate in the Heavenly Immortal Banquet looked at Jun Xiaoyao. Because he didn't rush over like the others. "Sir, we..." Chun rubbed her little hands. She was craving the Heavenly Immortal Fruit. "This Heavenly Immortal Banquet is a little boring." Jun Xiaoyao shook his head slightly. He thought he would encounter some interesting opponents. In the end, none of the 10 heavenly kings showed up. The only quasi-supreme, Wu Kuan, also made him lose interest. "Then let's just go and pick it." Jun Xiaoyao sighed and took both Chun and Fei Qingxue with him, stepping into the air and leaving. Just as Jun Xiaoyao entered the strange peak area, everyone's eyes were focused on him. The next moment, all the creatures of the foreign territory were dumbfounded. Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the void and walked towards the peak step by step. What about the others? They were crawling like turtles. Chapter 920. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have thought that they were dreaming. This fallen immortal ridge, especially the strange peak area where the celestial tree was located. There was an extremely strong domain suppression. Even quasi-supremes could only walk. But now they saw something. Jun Xiaoyao was walking in the air. And he was carrying 2 burdens. That was ridiculous. I want to report him. He's cheating. A foreign prodigy shouted, feeling extremely unbalanced. What's going on? The old antique host of the heavenly immortal banquet was also surprised. There shouldn't be many people in the younger generation who could resist the suppression of this domain. They tried to get closer, but they also felt an extremely strong suppression. At the same time, several divine senses scanned Jun Xiaoyao. This junior is quite something. It's actually difficult to detect his aura? An old antique said in surprise. But other than that, they didn't find anything unusual. The only explanation was, this white-robed young man might be stronger than everyone imagined. There's nothing unusual. Let's continue as usual, an old antique said. After saying that, some of the controversy subsided. These old antiques were at least supremes and above, so there shouldn't be any mistakes. How is that possible? Kong Qianqian also couldn't believe it. Because she was quite strong and had Wu Kuan with her, her speed was in the first echelon. But compared to Jun Xiaoyao, the difference was like heaven and earth. This made everyone's mentality collapse. No one could accept it. How can this be? Then what's the point of us coming here to participate in the heavenly immortal banquet? The golden sheep race's prodigy shouted. With his speed, whether it's the immortal spirit leaf or the heavenly immortal fruit, they will probably fall into his hands, Silver Spirit said. Haha, he also needs to be alive to enjoy it. Could it be that he dares to offend all of the royal, quasi-emperor, and monarch clans? The exotic Taoist race's prodigy sneered. There were so many prodigies present. How could the white-robed man take all the benefits alone? The exotic Taoist race's prodigy thought that the white-robed man shouldn't have the guts to take all the opportunities alone. This would undoubtedly offend all the prodigies present. The other prodigies also thought so. However, very soon, Jun Xiaoyao took Chun Chun and Fei Qingxue to the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, an ancient tree towered into the sky. The leaves were not very dense, but rather sparse. However, those leaves were all very strange. On the leaf, there were vague depictions of the sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas. It was as if the scenery of the world was depicted on the leaf. There was a natural Taoist rhyme lingering around and merging with the Tao. At the same time, the entire celestial immortal tree's body was covered in many blood-like veins. It must be the influence of that drop of immortal's blood. Is this the celestial immortal tree? Fei Qingxue was shocked. Originally, with her strength, it was impossible for her to reach this place. Now, just looking at it made him feel very satisfied. After all, just sitting cross-legged and cultivating under the celestial immortal tree was able to obtain enormous benefit. It's a pretty good treasure. Jun Xiaoyao was also slightly impressed. With Jun Xiaoyao's picky eyes, it was not easy to get some praise from him. Jun Xiaoyao could see that this celestial immortal tree had been nourished by a drop of immortal's blood for countless years. It had already emitted a kind of aura that was close to the Tao, not inferior to the Enlightenment ancient tree. Jun Xiaoyao could even feel that this celestial immortal tree already had some vague self-consciousness. This was rare. In Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, the world tree had this kind of self-consciousness. That was why it resisted and didn't want the evil god to get it. This celestial immortal tree was not comparable to the world tree. However, it was enough to be called a natural wonder at the level of the spring of life. However, what caught Jun Xiaoyao's attention the most were the celestial immortal fruit. The 5 celestial immortal fruits were placed on the celestial immortal tree like 5 small suns, releasing bright divine light. The multicolored light lingered, thousands of auspicious colors. To Jun Xiaoyao's surprise, the celestial immortal fruit looked like a little person sitting cross-legged. Jun Xiaoyao couldn't help but think of the legendary ginseng fruit. Jun Xiaoyao figured that the reason why the celestial immortal tree could bear the human-shaped celestial immortal fruit was probably related to that drop of immortal's blood. The human-shaped celestial immortal fruit was some kind of extension of the image of the owner of the immortal's blood. The 5 celestial immortal fruits were all supreme treasures. At the same time, they emitted a fragrance that made one's soul float, tempting one to drool. On the side, Chuanchuan's eyes were starry, and her saliva fell like a waterfall. She couldn't stop at all. Sir. Chun was a little impatient. On the other side, Fei Qingxue also secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. No one could resist this fragrance. However, Fei Qingxue lowered her head slightly. She knew that she was not qualified. Jun Xiaoyao stepped forward. Suddenly, the celestial immortal tree trembled, and various Tao laws intertwined, turning into a light blade that slashed at Jun Xiaoyao. Obviously, without a certain level of strength, one was not even qualified to pick it. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled and flicked his sleeve. The aura of chaos emerged and obliterated all the Tao law light blades. It was this move that made the faces of the few old antiques in the sky suddenly freeze. That aura is a bit like. Some of the old antiques were surprised and had some guesses in their hearts. Because Jun Xiaoyao had only used one move, they couldn't really feel it. Jun Xiaoyao waved his sleeve, and all the immortal spirit leaves and 5 celestial immortal fruits on the celestial immortal tree were plucked. The entire celestial immortal tree instantly became a little bear. "Little Munchkin Qingxue, make some tea," Jun Xiaoyao said. Coincidentally, there was a stone table and a few stone stools under the celestial immortal tree. "Yay!" Chun cheered. She hurriedly reached for the 100 treasures pouch at her waist and took out the tea set, the 10,000-year-old ice spring water, and other items. She had planned to come to the celestial banquet, so she had prepared all the items. "Sir, this," looking at the bare celestial immortal tree, Fei Qingxue was speechless. It turned out that Jun Xiaoyao wanted to take all the opportunities for himself, and he wasn't afraid of angering the crowd. Not only did he want to take them for himself, but he didn't want to leave and instead made tea here. Wasn't he a little too arrogant and condescending? If the other geniuses who ascended saw this, wouldn't they be so angry that they would die? "Don't worry." Jun Xiaoyao smiled. Ascending to the peak alone, tasting immortal tea and immortal fruits was also a great enjoyment. This young man is really in the sky. The few old antiques couldn't bear to watch anymore. Wasn't he looking down on the younger generation of the heavenly tuned state? Wasn't he too arrogant? These old antiques didn't know Jun Xiaoyao's true identity. If they knew that Jun Xiaoyao was from the immortal realm, they definitely wouldn't be so calm. Now, the opportunity that originally belonged to the younger generation of the heavenly tuned state. It was monopolized by Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao sat leisurely on the stone stools, while Chun and Fei Qingxue were making tea. At this time, Kong Qianqian, Wu Kuan, Mingxi, the exotic Taoist tribe, and other creatures finally arrived and climbed up with difficulty. When their eyes fell on the bare celestial immortal tree, they all had the urge to vomit blood. Good heavens! How cruel! He didn't even leave a single leaf for them. Chapter 9:21. At this moment, all the prodigies who had reached the top of the mountain had a mental breakdown. They had finally climbed up the mountain with great difficulty. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao didn't leave a single leaf for them. "Friend, don't you think you've gone too far?" the prodigy of the Moth Demon Royal tribe said. He had 4 eyes and a pair of moth wings on his back. At this moment, he was in a bad mood. That's right. As the saying goes, leave some leeway for others in the future. Brother, you've gone too far. The prodigy of the Golden Sheep tribe also expressed his dissatisfaction. This heavenly immortal banquet was originally a grand event for the younger generation of the heavenly tomb state. Why was Jun Xiaoyao monopolizing all the benefits now? Then what was the point of the others coming to this banquet? Were they just going to watch? Brother, you can't be like this. Silver Spirit of the Silver Royal tribe said. She was also a woman whose beauty was known far and wide. Her strength was on par with her beauty, and it was unknown how many men had fallen under her skirt. However, what made Silver Spirit a little stunned was that Jun Xiaoyao didn't even look at her. This made Silver Spirit a little dissatisfied. She was the prodigy of a top-tier royal tribe. It could be said that Jun Xiaoyao had really become the target of public criticism now. Why are you talking so much? Just snatch it. Some royal prodigies were envious, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. Although most of the heavenly immortal banquet stopped at a certain point. If they really killed someone, there wouldn't be any consequences. Of course, that was under the circumstance that their background was similar or stronger than the opponent's. In the eyes of these people, Jun Xiaoyao's background was a mystery. However, they didn't think that Jun Xiaoyao had any powerful background. After all, if he really had a powerful background, such as from a quasi-emperor tribe or even an immortal emperor tribe, it was impossible that they didn't know anything. Therefore, these royal prodigies were very bold. Swoosh! Some of the geniuses of the royal families charged forward like sharp swords, casting spells and heading straight for Jun Xiaoyao. One had to admit that these royal prodigies were very strong. At the same level, it was almost impossible for the immortal domain prodigies to resist. Sadly, although Jun Xiaoyao was a heaven chosen of the immortal realms, his demon-level talent was indescribable. Therefore, in the face of these royal prodigies who were charging at him, Yi Zichen didn't care about them at all. Jun Xiaoyao was also very simple. The light of chaos swirled in his eyes. Chaos Eye. Bang, bang, bang. Those sky prides who rashly rushed towards Jun Xiaoyao. One by one, their heads exploded, and their bodies cracked like bloody fireworks. Everyone was horrified. Dead silence. Even though some of the otherworldly creatures had witnessed Jun Xiaoyao's move in the ancient city, they were still shocked. But looking at it now, it was still shocking. The pupils of the old antiques in the sky abruptly shrank. They had also faintly sensed the faint fluctuation, and the guess in their hearts became increasingly clear. If it was really as they thought, if that was the case, then this mysterious young man's physique was too terrifying. His background was definitely not ordinary. The prodigies of the Moth Demon Royal tribe, the Golden Sheep tribe, Yinling, and the others were all stunned. After all, this move was too strange and powerful, and it was terrifying. Even the prodigies of the exotic Taoist tribe and the Snake tribe had a serious look in their eyes. Wu Kuan, this person is a little strange. Kong Qianqian also frowned. At first, she only wanted to kill the person who had killed her cousin casually, and that was it. But now it seemed that it was not so easy. This person is indeed a little strange. I can't detect his aura. But it's okay, he can't overturn the sky. Although a trace of surprise flashed in Wu Kuan's eyes, as a member of the Emperor race, he naturally couldn't show weakness. Not to mention that his cultivation was at the quasi-supreme stage, and he had the bloodline of the infernal Emperor race. His strength was stronger than ordinary quasi-supremes. That was why he had such confidence. However, after Jun Xiaoyao used this move, the other prodigies present didn't dare to act rashly. Seeing this scene, the old antiques in the sky sighed. I didn't expect to see such a scene at the heavenly immortal banquet. Yeah, which heavenly immortal banquet in the past wasn't a fierce battle. Unlike this time, all the prodigies were suppressed by one person. One person suppressed the entire younger generation of the heavenly tomb state. Tsk. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, the old antiques wouldn't have dared to believe it. After all, the people of the foreign domain were valiant and had a strong martial aura. In such an environment, it was extremely difficult to suppress the prodigies of the entire state. Of course, the heavenly tomb state wasn't the most prosperous state among the 10 states of the foreign domain. But to be able to do this was enough to be amazing. At that moment, Chuanchuan's clear voice sounded. "Sir, the tea is ready." Jun Xiaoyao glanced over and saw that Chunchun and Fei Qingxue had already used a portion of the immortal spirit leaf to make 9 cups of tea. Multicolored light shone, and immortal qi was abundant. It was no longer just tea. There seemed to be Taoist rhymes flowing in the tea, reflecting all kinds of gorgeous scenes in the world. Could really be called immortal tea. Although this tea was brewed by Chunchun and Fei Qingxue. But Jun Xiaoyao didn't drink it, and they didn't dare to drink it first. Jun Xiaoyao directly picked up a cup of tea and drank it in one gulp. It was as if he drank the world in one gulp. Boom! Jun Xiaoyao instantly felt that the great Tao patterns between heaven and earth had become clear in front of his eyes. It was as if he could reach out and grab it. At the same time, rich Taoist rhymes were emitted. Jun Xiaoyao felt like he was going to comprehend the Tao on the spot. Good tea. Jun Xiaoyao continued to pick up the second cup. He had a hobby of drinking tea, and this immortal tea was even more to his taste. After drinking the second cup, Jun Xiaoyao's entire body was enveloped in dazzling light. Then came the third cup. All kinds of true dragon, divine phoenix, and Qilin patterns appeared around Jun Xiaoyao's body. The fourth cup, auspicious signs descended from the heavens, and the great Tao resonated. In the end, 7 cups of immortal tea were drunk. Jun Xiaoyao felt as if he was about to ascend. His chaotic physique became even more perfect and flawless, and it was unprecedentedly comfortable with his primordial spirit. It could be said that the 7 cups of tea had washed away all the subtle flaws in Jun Xiaoyao's body, and made Jun Xiaoyao's body emit an immortal radiance. When they saw this scene, all of the foreign creatures here were stunned. 7 cups of immortal tea, ascension. Although it wasn't a true ascension, in the eyes of everyone, it was already an extreme transformation and a great opportunity. Damn it! Many geniuses were envious. They could only smell the fragrance of the immortal tea, but Jun Xiaoyao drank 7 cups in a row. They died from drought, and they died from drowning. However, what made them feel even more unbalanced was Jun Xiaoyao gave the remaining 2 cups of tea to Chunchun and Fei Qingxue. Chunchun didn't mind it. She cheered and swallowed it in one gulp. With her cultivation strength, drinking a cup of immortal tea was enough. Moreover, there were still some immortal spirit leaves left, so she could soak them in the future. As for Fei Qingxue, she was pleasantly surprised and a little flattered. She didn't expect to be able to get a cup of immortal tea. "Thank you, sir." Fei Qingxue bowed to Jun Xiaoyao. Then, she carefully picked up the teacup and sipped the tea, comprehending the opportunity and Taoist rhymes. Originally, with her cultivation strength, it was absolutely impossible for her to drink immortal tea. Seeing this scene, the quasi-emperors and royal elites had a mental breakdown. How could a little attendant drink immortal tea? And Fei Qingxue, a princess of a declining royal family, could also enjoy such treatment. A hint of jealousy appeared on Yinling's pretty face. She knew that her appearance, strength, and status were all better than Fei Qingxue's. Why could Fei Qingxue drink immortal tea, but she could only watch from the side? This made her heart sour, and she turned into a lemon. "Sir, may I have the honor of tasting a cup of immortal tea?" Yinling took a step forward and ran her jade-like hands through her smooth and soft hair. She was wearing a long silver dress that wrapped around her graceful body. As the princess of the Silver Royal Family, one of the top royal families, Yinling was very confident in her own charm. Since even Fei Qingxue could taste immortal tea, she should be able to as well. Who do you think you are? Jun Xiaoyao didn't even look at her. Yinling's beautiful face froze, and she instantly became extremely embarrassed. Chapter 922. Yinling's mind was a little numb. She was used to everyone's flattery and praise. This was the first time she had been humiliated like this. She was extremely ashamed and angry, and her beautiful eyes were burning with anger. Everyone, are you willing to accept this? Yinling looked at the prodigies of the royal moth demon race and the golden sheep race. Of course not. He still has some immortal spirit leave. We can join forces and snatch them, Yinling said. Jun Xiaoyao's eeriness had indeed stunned a bunch of people. However, if they join forces they might succeed. Are we going to join forces? That's a little. The royal moth demon prodigy was stunned. Each of them had a good reputation and were prodigies who dominated a region. Now they actually had to join forces to deal with one person. That was beneath their dignity. This person is indeed strange. If we don't join forces, it's indeed difficult to deal with him, the golden sheep race prodigy said. Just as they were communicating with their divine wills, Jun Xiaoyao had already taken out a heavenly immortal fruit. After drinking the immortal tea, it was naturally time to taste the immortal fruit. Seeing this scene, the prodigies present could no longer bear it. The feeling of watching someone else obtain a great opportunity was too uncomfortable. Moreover, although the immortal tea was precious, it was still inferior to the heavenly immortal fruit. Rumor had it that a heavenly immortal fruit could allow one to advance by a realm and had various benefits. Seeing that Jun Xiaoyao was about to eat the heavenly immortal fruit, no one could remain calm. They were afraid that Jun Xiaoyao would directly finish all 5 heavenly immortal fruits like he was drinking the immortal tea. One had to know that the heavenly immortal fruit only bore fruit once every 1,000 years. It was too precious. If Jun Xiaoyao finished eating it, they would have to wait another 1,000 years. Who could stand that? Stop! A cold voice suddenly sounded. It was from Wu Kuan. I'm here on Master's orders. In addition to helping Miss Qianqian obtain a heavenly immortal fruit, Master also needs a heavenly immortal fruit. So if you know what's good for you, hand over 3 heavenly immortal fruits, Wu Kuan said. The reason why there was an extra one was naturally because he wanted one too. Jun Xiaoyao's hand gesture paused. It wasn't because he was afraid of Wu Kuan. Instead, he felt that it was a little noisy. Although it's a fly, it's always noisy and annoying. As Jun Xiaoyao spoke, he waved his hand. The 5 heavenly immortal fruits were placed on the stone table. Come at me together. The heavenly immortal fruit is right here. If you can get it, that's your ability, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. The reason he roamed the other side was also because he wanted to meet the foreign experts. He was used to being invincible in the 9 heavens immortal realm. In the other side, he naturally had to sweep through everything. He's too arrogant. Upon hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, the faces of all the royal prodigies present darkened. One person challenging all of them. This was simply looking down on all of them. Attack together! Kill! The group of sky prides surrounded Jun Xiaoyao. Among them, the moth demon royal prodigy's moth wings trembled behind his back as numerous runes appeared. They turned into balls of blazing fire and fell towards Jun Xiaoyao. This was the moth devil royal race's ability, moth devil heavenly fire. Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyelids indifferently. It was just a flick of his finger. A wisp of energy burst out and pierced through the void. The moth demon royal prodigy's head was pierced through by this wisp of energy, and then exploded, instantly dying. At this moment, the surrounding geniuses of the royal families turned pale with fright. The moth demon royal prodigy was extremely powerful. However, he was still killed by Jun Xiaoyao with a flick of his finger. His strength made people's hearts turn cold. Don't be afraid. Attack together! The golden sheep race's prodigy shouted loudly. He muttered something in his mouth, and the 2 golden horns on his forehead fell off. They were like 2 golden heavenly swords, swallowing and emitting a sharp aura that could cut the sky and the earth. This was the golden sheep race's peerless ability, a great killing weapon. It was not only a part of their body, but also a weapon that they had been refining since they were young. Its power was peerless. The two golden heavenly swords slashed down at Jun Xiaoyao's head, and it was as if they could cut a mountain in half. However, just as the heavenly swords were about to reach Jun Xiaoyao, an inexplicable force appeared and destroyed the peerless sword aura. Only the two swords were left, and they slashed down powerlessly. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand and caught the two heavenly swords with 2 fingers. "This is impossible," the golden sheep race's prodigy shouted in disbelief. What kind of divine power was this? How can this be? Wu Kuan was slightly shocked. This ability made him think of a race. It wasn't just him. The old antiques in the sky dome above, as well as a few foreign experts whose horizons were rather deep, all thought of a certain clan. A cracking sound was heard. Jun Xiaoyao used a bit of force with 2 fingers and crushed the 2 heavenly swords formed by the golden horns. Spurt! The golden sheep race's prodigy spat out a mouthful of blood. His forehead cracked, and his primordial spirit was about to shatter. These 2 heavenly swords were his natal weapons. It could be said that most of the golden sheep race's divine power was in these 2 heavenly swords. Now that Jun Xiaoyao had easily crushed these 2 heavenly swords, the golden sheep race's prodigy was immediately severely injured, and his combat power was almost completely destroyed. "Everyone, let's attack together. Do you think he can defeat all of us?" Yinling also spoke. With the princess of the top royal race taking the lead, the other royal race's prodigies also attacked at the same time. In an instant, all kinds of powerful divine powers and top-tier forbidden arts were cast. They were all well-known great methods of the other side, their power extremely great. The place instantly boiled, as if countless stars had exploded, and destructive waves surged toward Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao was still calm. All the divine power waves turned into nothingness in front of Jun Xiaoyao. How can all the royal race's prodigies opened their mouths and eyes wide? This is impossible. Yinling also lost her composure and couldn't maintain her ladylike demeanor. At this moment, a solemn voice sounded. "What's your relationship with the Magia race?" The one who spoke was the prodigy of the quasi-emperor race, the exotic Taoist race. Hearing this, many of the royal race's prodigies revealed looks of shock. The Magia race is rumored to be a peerless imperial race. They are invulnerable to all dermic powers and have dermic powers immunity. Some of the overlord race's prodigies exclaimed. The Magia race was one of the overlord races of the overlord race. There weren't many of them, but every one of them was extremely powerful. Whether it was the sleeping younger generation or the older generation, they were all invincible among their peers. Moreover, the most distinctive characteristic of this imperial race was that they were born with dermic powers immunity. The effects of dermic powers differed according to one's strength. However, the only thing that was certain was that the ability to be invulnerable to all dermic powers and dermic powers immunity was unique to this race's bloodline. It was almost impossible for other living beings to have it. That's right. What that person used just now did seem to be the effect of dermic powers immunity. No wonder he's so powerful. I didn't expect him to really be a descendant of an immortal emperor race. The Magia race is extremely rare and mysterious. I didn't expect a descendant to appear in the world now. In an instant, all kinds of noisy discussions sounded. Many of the royal race's prodigies came to a realization. If he was a descendant of an immortal emperor race, then everything made sense. It was not impossible for him to defeat them. However, in the sky, a few old antiques were puzzled. Although it seems to be an ability of the Magia race, is this child really from that race? I've never heard of any activity from that race. It wasn't just these old antiques who were doubtful. Wu Kuan also stood out and said, "The descendants of the imperial race are high and mighty. They don't easily travel the world. How could they be like you? Moreover, my master also knows that among the Magia race's prodigies, there doesn't seem to be someone like you. Could it be that you stole that ability from somewhere, or is it similar? If you don't explain it clearly today, I'm afraid that the Magia race will find trouble with you in the future. They won't allow this ability to be leaked to outsiders. Wu Kuan's eyes were sharp, as if he wanted to see through Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao laughed when he heard that. His dermic powers immunity ability was obtained through signing in. What did it have to do with the Magia race? So what if they're from the Magia race? Are they qualified to be compared to my bloodline? Jun Xiaoyao said coldly, his tone full of contempt,